Also, please do not use any camera and flash while the test is on. The women's swimming specialist will start in 1 minute from now.
Hello everyone and welcome to the final day of competition of the UCI Track World Cup from Nilai in Malaysia. I'm Scott McGrory bringing you this final day's action, and what an incredible first 2 days we have had in this wonderful country of Malaysia. You see images of the Tour of Langkawi, famous road tour race. That's the Sepang motor circuit, which is only 15 kilometres from where we are here in Nilai. And this wonderful velodrome, the national velodrome of Malaysia, that has seen so much success over the last few years. And what a fantastic 3 days we've been having here at the final round of the UCI Track World Cup for 2026. Sunday, the last day, around this 250-metre velodrome, 42.6 degree angles in the bankings, just over 12 degrees down the straights. So in bike shoes, it's still difficult to walk up the straights, and it's impossible to walk up the banking, as you could imagine. Azizul Awang won the Keirin last night, absolutely lifted the roof off this stadium, and he's back into the sprint races here tonight as well. We will be kicking off with the women's omnium, scratch race for them to start with before we go into the semi-finals of the sprints, including Awang, the local legend, and the world champion, Harry Levrason. We have the women's Keirin tonight as well. We're into the semi-finals there. And then the men's Madison. Women's Madison last night, spectacular victory by the Netherlands. They also are the favourites in the men's race here tonight as well. Over 200 laps. You see the riders just getting themselves ready to come up onto the track for the first race tonight. There's the points race world champion in the green and yellow for Mexico. It's Yareli Acevedo. She's the Pan American champion for the last 2 years in the omnium. So the omnium scratch race to get the omnium underway. Qualifying heats this afternoon to make sure they have 5 races instead of just the 4 that you normally get with an omnium as we go down through the start list. Helena Hesters, bronze medal in the elimination at the World Championships last year. She'll be certainly one to look out for. Hong Kong will be excited to see Li Xingwing onto the track once again. And Lara Gillespie, she won the elimination at the World Champs. Martina Fidanza, former world champion in the scratch race and in the team pursuit. And we also have Bethany Ingram for the United States. Look out for the rider from Japan as well, Yumi Kachihara at 29. She's 18 times the Asian champion across multiple disciplines, 6 of them in the omnium. Silver medal at the Tokyo Olympic Games, and she was the world omnium champion in 2020. So she really does bounce off the page as one of the pre-race favourites. Ingram from the US. 343 from Switzerland, 304. The new look colours of the United States introduced for this year. New sponsor of the program, Rafa Clothing. And I've been enjoying it. I think the colours look good. Social media was split. And the new look colours for Italy. Always stylish, the Italians. Fidanza. She's now 26. Martina. There's Lara Gillespie. She got to race the elimination in the rainbow bands as the world champion. Try her luck now. She's had a couple of good road race victories this year as well, so she really has stepped up from previously being more of a track specialist to being a really good, accomplished road rider now also. So the riders all getting themselves into position. So the Omnium, if you haven't seen it before, if you were tuning in last night, you would have seen the men race. But if you have watching for the first time track cycling, 4 separate bunch races, starting with the scratch race that we have now. Then it's the tempo, the elimination, and finishing with the points race. So each of these first 3 races ridden as standalone individual events. But the winner will receive 40 points, then 38, 36, and so forth and down the list. So everyone will score points as they come through. Then they go into the next race, which will be the tempo. We'll explain that when we get to the format of that race. But again, the winner of that will get 40 points. You see the world champion, Lorena Vibas, in the mix. So she knows how to get around an Omnium very well. And then in the elimination, the same. 40 points for the winner, 38, 36, and so on. And when they get to the points race, all of those points are put together as their overall tally. And they will start the final points race with the points that they have accumulated first through these first 3 races. So Kajihara is a former world champion and the current world champion in Lorena Vibas. And we are underway. Perhaps the loudest starting pistol I've heard for a long time. I mean, they may have changed the starter caps from the last couple of days. That went off. So Lorena Vibas is the world champ. She won the world scratch race last year as well. We're starting here with the scratch race for the Omnium. So she is the outstanding favourite. Won the Madison last night, so she's riding on a high, Lorena Vibas. There she is, 3rd from the front in the rainbow band, signifying winning the Omnium last year at Santiago, Chile. So right down the very back, Dupin from France, the orange helmet stands out. They introduced the orange helmets. I mentioned this in the women's Madison last night, but the French with the fluoro orangey helmets. The British were the first to do it, I think, with the fluoro yellow helmets in the Madison in particular, just to make it a little bit more easy to identify your partner when they are in the race. Not that necessary when it comes to the individual races like this, but it's a narrow helmet. It's giving her an advantage. Melanie Dupin. Here she is, the Frenchman. Italian behind her. Martina Fidanza. A couple of times a world champion. Scratch race and team pursuit, the Italian. The former world champ swings up, Kajihara. Dupin. And second wheel there is Anita Stenberg from Norway. She didn't ride as well as she was hoping to in the Omnium last week in Hong Kong, the second round of the UCI Track World Cup. She did win the elimination last week. So she'll be looking to do really well. Has been a medalist at the World Championships before. It was in 2020 in the Omnium, Stenberg. 4th at the Tokyo Olympic Games, also in the Omnium. So she's 33 now, the Norwegian, but super strong. The longer these races go on, the better she gets. I'll come around to get 32 laps to go, 40 laps to start with. And so far, nervously cruising through, not putting too much effort in. Li Ziwing, 24-year-old from Hong Kong now, swings up. She got the silver medal last week behind Stenberg in Hong Kong at the World Cup. Has been 8th at the World Championships in the Omnium as well, Lee Xingwing. No attacks just yet. Fidanza, Dupin, Stenberg. Samantha Donnelly, part of the team pursuit program for New Zealand. Such a strong team. She's got a gold medal on the first day here, Donnelly. The team pursuit ladies did so well. Brautigam from Germany. So the black colours from New Zealand go through, and the black colours will also go right to the very back. The Malaysian black colours, right at the very back there. So Nur Muhammad, plenty of support for the riders as you'd expect here on Malaysian soil. And this afternoon in the men's sprints, Azizul Hasni Awang was making his way through, but in the quarterfinals, they had to go to a best of 3, but every race he won, regardless of which round it was, the crowd went berserk, absolutely enjoying the success that they have been witnessing with Azizul. We'll see him up in the sprint semi-finals pretty soon tonight. I'll come around now, 26 laps to go. Still, so far, no pace on at all. The world champ comes up to the top of the track, Lorena Vivas. She wouldn't mind a hard race, but even if it is at this pace and it comes down to just a bunt sprint, we know how fast she is. 122 road race victories. Winner of Milan San Remo last year, Lorena. So the harder it is, the better it becomes for her. But if it's a short and easy race like this one, she's still standout favourite because of her speed. Belasaita. So Lithuania swings up. 27 now, Olivia. 8th at the Olympic Games in Tokyo in the Omnium. She has been 5th at the World Championships as well. So look out for the colours, the bright colours right at the very back there. Second last wheel, Olivia Belasaita. Gillespie, the green colours of Ireland. Didn't see too many Irish ladies on the world stage until a few years ago. Gillespie really leading the way. They've stepped up in the team pursuit as well, showing some real depth in the track program in Ireland. Really good to see. Another nation that has had a lot of success on the road, in particular with the men. So great to see the Irish women getting together and riding so well on the velodrome as well. Elaine Seitz, bronze medal in the Madison last night. They were absolutely delighted, the Swiss, to get themselves on the podium. Talk about the difference between the men and the women's programs. I did mention during the women's Madison yesterday how successful the men have been in that event previously, with Bruno Risi, Kurt Betchart, Franco Marvuli. So really good to see the Swiss ladies getting themselves onto the podium at a World Cup in a Madison race. So Paulina Conrad, the neutral colours, the light blue colours, racing under the neutral flag here in the UCI Track World Cup in Nilai. Still no pressure, and they're inside 20 laps to go, so they've gone just over halfway now, and everyone seemingly content to bring this down to a sprint. So unlike a normal standalone scratch race where they're simply racing for the medals, this one is all about finishing as far as possible towards the front to maximise the amount of points that you get in the overall standings of the Omnium. So the riders even down the back on the last lap will be fighting to come through and gain some positions. Do not want to get caught out and get minimal points in the first scratch race. Belasaita comes through. Kozyeva from Uzbekistan. Canadian is Lily Planty. So Planty goes up to the top of the track as well. Super short turns for all of these riders. No one willing to waste any energy being on the front for too long. Dupin Stenberg, Gillespie, Acevedo. All of them just peeling off on the front. Sam Donnelly now. Next one to go. Wiebes, Brautigam, the German. Mohammad in the black colours for Malaysia, now to the top. Hesters. She's only 21, Helena Hesters. Current European scratch race champion. Great bunch race rider. So many good bunch race riders have come out of Belgium. Real specialists. They have had to work on the team pursuit program as well, just to try and help them get better qualifying quotas for the Olympic Games in track cycling. Great heritage within the Madison itself. Riders coming from Belgium. And Helena Hesters from Ghent, famous for Madison racing, the Ghent 6-day. Getting close to the final 10 laps. Does look like this is going to be one big mass sprint to kick off the women's omnium. Little bit of a split. Not really coming to much though. You see there are two riders in the light blue neutral colours, Baldoni and Conrad. Lorena Wiebes looking splendid in the rainbow bands. Seitz, Ingram, USA. And now they're into 9 laps to go, and you can see them just bunching up a little bit more now, starting to think about this final sprint, and it can create an opportunity as they all swing up the track now. No serious attacks till this point, but sometimes in the last couple of laps when they really start to hesitate and think about saving their legs as much as they can for the final sprint, there is an opportunity for someone to go on the attack. Have to be very cautious to not get boxed in now. Need to stay as close to the front as possible. Maximise the points you can get in the opening discipline of the 4-bunch race omnium. Mejas from Cuba, high on the track. You see Lorena Wiebes just making sure that she's up there nearabouts towards the front with 6 laps to go. Kajihara following the world champion as well. There she is, top of the track on the fence from Japan. And the first one to really make a move now. Melanie Dupin, and you can see the hesitation that gets created. It's Paulina Conrad is the first one to react. It's going to be a very long sprint. It's going to be difficult for Conrad. Wiebes has put herself into 2nd position. Kajihara also coming around the outside, and still 4 laps to go. So this is going to be really difficult for these riders like Kajihara that have gone onto the front so far from the finish. Gillespie now. It's an arm wrestle between the riders on the front. Wiebes tucked in. Dupin is about to get reeled back in at 3 to go. Stenberg now makes her move. So Anita Stenberg from Norway. Still 2.5 laps to go. This is one of the longest sprints we've seen in an omnium scratch race. Kajihara now gets the benefit of being in the slipstream of Anita Stenberg. Wiebes now moves her way out, wants to be in clear air, and a lap and a half to go. Lorena Wiebes, the world champion, goes to the front. Seitz just behind her. Stenberg gets into 2nd position, but there goes the world champion with 1 lap to go. It's been such a long sprint for these riders, and Wiebes down the back straight. Seitz in 2nd position for Switzerland. Belasaita from Lithuania in 3rd. Stenberg holding on for 4th, but it will be the world champion. Lorena Wiebes kicks off the women's omnium in fine fashion. Maximum points for her for the scratch race victory. So the overall tally for her will look very good with 40 points. So she wins the scratch race. Seitz, Belasaita, Stenberg, Gillespie, Kajihara. They are the top 6. So a few of the pre-race favourites putting themselves right up towards the front, but none as good as the world omnium champion. And she won the scratch race at the World Champs last year. That was back-to-back wins for her after winning in 2024 as well. So once again showing how unbeatable she is at the highest level in a scratch race. So good move from Melanie Dupin. Just went... it was perhaps Kajihara that did the damage for her. Stenberg over the top. So Yumi tucked underneath, but no one can control the power, the speed of Lorena Wiebes. So a good way to start the Omnium. Win the first scratch race, pick up some 40 points there. Stenberg looks strong. So a good race from her as well. Wiebes, Seitz, Bellasaita, Stenberg, Gillespie and Kajihara. So the world omnium champion. Great start from her. Stenberg's been a medalist at the World Champs. Gillespie is the world elimination champion. Kajihara is the former world champion in the omnium. The best in the world here on the boards in Malaysia. And the riders further down, Conrad and Melanie Dupin, after that last moment attack, unfortunately for her, gobbled up by the peloton and spat out the back, finishing in last place. At least she tried, went down with a fight. So into the men's sprint semi-finals, and we'll see Harry Lovreisen coming up first against Nikita Kiritsev. And this is a story. Kiritsev qualified in 20th place. He has raced his way through all of the rounds, defeating all of those riders that qualified much quicker than him. He was 9.8 seconds in the qualifying, down in 20th place, and now finds himself in the top 4. So tactically, he has been outstanding when it comes to head-to-head racing. And this is the biggest challenge yet. And he's up against the world champion, Harry Lovreisen. He's won the last 7 sprint world titles in a row. 20 times a world champion across all of the sprint disciplines. He won all 4 last year in Santiago. And he was second in the keirin last night as the world champion, beaten by the local star, Azizul Awang. But head-to-head sprint racing is a different game altogether. So Harry, certainly the favourite here. Kiritsev has been the giant killer so far. Can he get another scalp? The biggest of them all in Harry Lovreisen. Best of 3, must win 2 to make your way into the race for gold and silver. Men's sprint semi-finals. The world champ is on the track. He looks happy and content to control the race from the front. Kiritsev in the neutral colours. Now starting to build up the pace. They'll come around another half a lap until they get the bell. The first in the best of 3 men's sprint semi-finals, and Lovreisen in control. Nikita Kiritsev trying to do something against the greatest sprinter of all time. And Lovreisen down the back straight. Look under the shoulder just to see where his opponent is, and he knows he doesn't have the speed to close it down. So Lovreisen gets the first win in the semi-final. No surprise there. Nikita has done an incredible job today to find himself in the semis. And he'll have another chance to force a decider when they come back onto the track. So far, so good for the world champ. Heat 2 of the men's semi-finals in the sprint. Azizul Hasni Awang. He won the keirin last night. If you haven't seen that, search for it on social media. It was extraordinary. The race was great, but then the crowd reaction was simply stunning. Goosebump stuff. And he's up against Nicholas Paul. Paul was slightly faster in the qualifying. And he has been a medalist in the sprint at the World Championships previously, and he was the world record holder for the flying 200 metres, 9.1 back in 2019. But for now, it's all about Ken Azazul Hasni Awang get over the top of the man that was once the fastest on the planet, Nicholas Paul. Trinidad and Tobago versus Malaysia. Azazul did lose one of the rides in the quarterfinals, so it had to go to a decider. Heat 2, men's sprint semi-finals. Final rounds of the UCI Track World Cup here in Nilai, Malaysia. Such a recognisable face in Malaysia. Cannot find a quiet space to go anywhere. So everyone wants to come and get a selfie or an autograph from Azazul when he's back here. He does live in Melbourne. Been based in Melbourne for a long time, since the Malaysian program was taken over by John Beasley, the national coach. Took them down to Melbourne, and then they came back once they built this track and brought the program and all the riders back across to Malaysia, except for Azazul. He has stayed there. His kids are in school. Super slow race here. Nicholas Paul almost coming to a stop. Showing signs that he would like Awang to go to the lead, but didn't come to a complete stop to try and force the point. A little flick of the bars there, trying to put some pressure on for Azazul. Nicholas Paul having none of it, staying strong at the front. Paul perhaps better suited to a really short sprint, so he's keeping this as slow as possible. Awang's such a good keirin rider, but that's from a high speed that he has the best chance, and now he goes. So the best of three, and it's Awang over the top of Nicholas Paul. Has to give him some room as he goes into the back straight. No infringement there, so Awang trying to get the first win here. Can Paul come back over the top? But it will be the Malaysian sensation that gets the first win. The crowd absolutely loving it. One win away from going into the final, but a great race there from Azazul Hasni Awang. The winner of the keirin last night and the bronze medalist was Nicholas Paul. So great matchup between these two. Paul trying to keep it as short as possible. He feels that he does have the better acceleration, but certainly wasn't indicated there. He stayed in the saddle, Nicholas Paul, trying to get the acceleration seated. A little bit unusual. You see Awang bouncing out of the saddle using full body extension to put power through the pedals. And that acceleration came with it. So good start from Azazul. So the local star and the world champion both win with a win each in the men's sprints. We'll see them come back out again, see if they can go straight in sets and make their way into the final. Nicholas Paul and Kiritsev might have something to say about that. Women's keirin now, semi-finals for them. So 2 heats in the semis, 6 riders. This is Stephanie Cuadrado, the 19-year-old. She's been a sensation as well. A teenage star, multiple times under-19 world champion, and she won the bronze medal at the World Championships in the keirin last year. The first time at the World Championships at the highest level. And straight up there with a medal. Florian Genet, 27, bronze medalist in the keirin at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Jabornikova from Czechia. Steffi van der Peet, 26, world champion in the team sprint for Van der Peet. She got a bronze in the keirin back in 2022. So Gasiola, a 33-year-old from Mexico, and Nurul Maud, 22-year-old from Malaysia. She went to the Paris Olympic Games, rode the sprint and the keirin, so has the highest level of experience, but the Pan American champion, Lauriane Genet. Olympic medal to her name in this event. Canadian, second from the top. So Maud, first onto the bike, then it's Gaziola. Van der Peet from the Netherlands. Jabornikova, Czechia, Genet, Quadrado. A lot of talk about Quadrado going through the under-19s, winning multiple world titles in that age group, and it is really difficult for the under-19s to step up to the elite category. For the ladies in particular, it seems like a big step, but she has handled it so well. Youngest in this field, 6th position. First 3 to go through. 6 laps, 3 laps behind the bike. Builds them up to just under 50 kilometres per hour, and then 3 laps unleashed. And the first 3 to go through into the final. Just giving themselves a little bit of space so they can move if anyone does take a fly from the back. So no one has come from behind. 3 laps is a long sprint. It's a big effort if you have to come from 6th wheel. Maud. 1 lap completed without too much effort. And now it's Genet from Canada. First one to go, but she's been hung up on the outside of Jabornikova. So Van der Peet now in the orange colours of Netherlands. Now Genet gets unleashed. She comes to the front. And Quadrado from Colombia right up around the outside as well. Top 3 to go through into the final. And Genet is the first one down the back straight. Quadrado, the teenager from Colombia, into second. Van der Peet trying to hold on for that 3rd spot, but she'll get rolled here by Gaziola. So she'll go through. Genet, Gaziola, Van der Peet, Jabornikova, but Quadrado has not popped up. There it has. So I wondered where she'd gone missing to. So Genet, Quadrado and Gaziola. They are the 3 that will go through to the women's keirin final. Solid ride once again from the bronze medalist from the Tokyo Olympic Games to get the win. It's not that necessary to win, but it does guarantee that you make your way into the final. Quadrado showing some good form as well. You see her there, still last position, high on the track, long way around the outside. That's at 1 lap to go. Genet, you can see, looking under the shoulder just to see who's coming, if anyone. Another check there as they go into the finishing straight. So Canada, Colombia and Mexico qualify for the final. The rest, Van der Peet, Jabornikova and Maud, they'll come back out and race in the 7th to 12th final. Second heat of the women's keirin semi-finals now. And another teenager. Zita Gayens, silver at the Under-19 World Championships last year in the sprint, bronze in the 1,000-metre time trial. So the young Belgian, Sibiak, Nicola Sibiak from Poland, Wang Luhuan from China, 23-year-olds. Her best result was 8th in the keirin at the 24 World Championships. Zita from Belgium, Theo Bos in the green shirt, former world champion. National coach of Belgium now, the Dutchman. Hetty van der Waal. And Emma Finucane, she won the sprint last night. 2-time world champion in the sprint 2023 and 2024. Lana Belikova in the light blue colours, the neutral colours. World champion in the 500-metre time trial in 24. Silver last year in the 1,000 metres. And Belikova has a bronze medal at the World Champs in the keirin. That was back in 2021. That's her in 2nd position. But it will be Emma Finucane from Great Britain favourite on paper. World record holder over 200 metres. She lines up behind the bike. Then it's Berlikova. Hetty van der Waal. Gaysens, Wang, Sibiak. The orange colours in the middle. Van der Waal. Sprint world champion from last year. She was second in the keirin at the World Champs in 2024. That was behind Minasato from Japan. So once again, first three to go through. Bike will come off the next time they come around. 3 laps to go. First three to qualify. Genet, Quadrado and Gasiola are in the final. We're waiting to see who the next 3 will be. And the first to move is Sibiak. Bike now comes off, 3 to go. Nicola Sibiak right up and around the outside, and Emma Finucane happy to have a slipstream to sit in now. Berlikova tight on the wheel of Finucane. And now comes Hetty van der Waal. Does not want to get caught too far back, and she goes to the front. Finucane moves to try and counteract that. Finucane again, a little bit of a coming together there. Wang almost off the handlebars. So China now making a move. Finucane in second position as they come to the bell. First 3 to qualify. Van der Waal, Finucane, Wang caught underneath. Gaysens from Belgium, champion out of the under-19 category, but she's stuck with nowhere to go. Finucane comfortably going through to the final. And down on the bottom there, it's Van der Waal in the orange, and also Wang from China. They are the 3 that will go through. Touch of elbows, though. Showing some willingness to get the elbows out, as always happens in the keirin. Need to be careful. Race officials don't like any body contact, but Emma Finucane didn't need any. Very comfortable win for her. Berlikova flashing home, but 5-6 wide. Just too far up around the outside for the former world champion in the 500-metre time trial. Confirmation, Finucane, Van der Waal and Wang. Now 3 to go into the race for final. They'll line up alongside Genet, Quadrado and Gasiola. That's the lineup, the race for 1st to 6th. The rest will have another race though. The 7th to 12th final. Important to pick up some points and perform the best you can. UCI Track World Cups. This is the final round of 3. Perth, Hong Kong, and now in Nilai, Malaysia. And the points valuable to get yourself qualified for the World Championships that will be in Shanghai in October. Second race now in the men's sprint semi-final. Harry Levason, the world champion, up against Nikita Kiritsev. Neutral colours for him. Nikita will try his best to get a win here, but I'm sure if you said to him before the competition, you're going to qualify 20th, but you still will finish in the top 4, he would have taken it, because that is quite the leap. So he's raced so well throughout the day. Reverse the start order. Drew for positions for the first race. Reverse them for the second. If Nikita can get the win, they'll redraw for positions for the decider. It's a really tough one when you have to think about what tactics to try and use to get the better of someone as accomplished as Levason. So on the front this time at least, Kiritsev seems content to stay there. Feels he has a better chance against the world champ. Now starting to get it wound up. They'll come around to get the bell this time. Levason wins this and he's into the final. Kilitsev into the back straight, and here comes Harry. Steps out down the back straight, and all the power that we've seen so many times before utilised to blast past Kilitsev. So Lovresen with 2 straight wins in the semi-final cruises through to the race for gold. A silver in the keirin last night, and at least a silver in the sprint today. Well, my commentary position just up above the finish line, because Azizul Awang's about to come back onto the track. Everyone has come out to watch, and I've got 3 policemen right over my shoulder. I was a bit nervous at first when I saw them, but they've only just come out to make sure they get to see this race. So Nicholas Paul from Trinidad and Tobago must win to force the decider. And Azizul Awang, he gets the win and will be racing against Harry Lovresen in the final. He's been a great sprinter over the years, but the keirin, that has been his bag. Former world champion, Olympic medalist on 2 occasions. So Awang, but as we've already seen, tactically he's just such a good rider that even when he's not the fastest in qualifying, he can still race his way to good results. So Awang wins this, and he's into the final. Nicholas Paul is not a rider to be underestimated, though. He was the faster of these 2 in qualifying. But there's been so many races since then. And all of the fatigue that has built up over a couple of days kind of does neutralise those little gaps from the qualifying. It's one of the interesting things about sprinting. They do train for maximum speed, maximum power, because if you don't qualify high, you've got no chance of making your way through, usually. But at the same time, the sprinters always have so many races that they get into the finals. If they're not trained hard enough, then all of that speed is gone to waste. So that real balance between trying to train to be as powerful and as fast as you can be, but yet able to replicate that time and time again throughout a day. The size of the gear on the bike as well now, fixed gear of course, single speed, but the size of the gear ratio has gone up so much in the last 10 years. It just means that every single race they have is a maximum effort. Tear themselves apart, and Nicholas Paul dives down underneath. So Awang has to accelerate here. Paul just backing off a little bit, but he's gone high on the track, and Awang has gone through underneath. So this is a good race between these 2. Rory dives through underneath once more, and Awang shuts the door this time. So 1 minute away from going into the final. Azizul Awang, Nicholas Paul once again almost tries to go underneath. So Awang in control, but Nicholas Paul with the speed around the outside. Downhill run down the finishing straight as well, and Nicholas Paul gets the win. Fascinating race between these 2, and there will be a 3rd and final. A decider is to come between Paul and Awang. Well, stop-start nature of that. Almost 3 times the sprint got going and then stopped and balked and paused and went again. So from a super slow start, that had everything in it. That was the first one. Paul dives underneath, and I thought from there he might go all the way. Swung up the track. Azizul, little flick up to the fence for him as well. And once they're shoulder to shoulder coming out of the bend, the rider on the inside typically realises downhill run to the line. No chance. So good even match between them. We'll see them back on the track again. They get the women's omnium tempo race to recover for that final race. And for Harry Lovresen, he now knows, regardless of who wins the 2nd semi-final, they'll have an extra race in the legs. They'll be a little bit more fatigued when they come up against him. in the race for gold. So let's look back to the scratch race, the first event on the program for the women's omnium. 4.5 laps from the finish, this sprint started. Kajihara got swept away on the inside, Stenberg over the top. Elaine Seitz, great ride from her to finish in second, but the world champion, Lorena Wiebes, picked up the scratch race win. So for that was 40 points. Seitz got 38. So in the overall standings, after one race, it is the world champion that leads the way, Lorena Wiebes. There's the confirmation. Balasaita, Stenberg, Seitz, Gillespie, Kachihara. So all of the big stars right to the very front from that scratch race, maximising the points that they were able to get. So good riding from all of them. Acevedo in 11th place, the world points race champion. But she gets stronger the more we go into it. As we get closer towards that points race, the world champ in that particular discipline will start to improve a little bit. She needs to start here in the tempo. So they'll line up as they did for the scratch race, but now they'll be in the order they finished from the scratch. And for the tempo, the first 4 laps, no points on offer. And after that, every single lap, only the first rider across the line will score 1 point. If you can take a lap on the field, which often does happen in the tempo, you'll get 20 points for doing so. If you're on the same points or have no points, it all comes down to how you finish on the final sprint. We often see a rider in the first couple of laps, when there are no points on offer, go on the attack. And if they can get a gap on the field, mainly back in the bunch, they hesitate a little bit because there's only that 1 point for the winner each time. And they are able often to just sit out in front for a number of laps and gobble up all of the points. As we see Balasaita, Olivia coming up. So Stenberg sitting right behind Wiebes. 3rd place in the scratch race, 3rd place overall. There's Lara Gillespie, the elimination world champion from Ireland. Kozieva from Uzbekistan. Donnelly in the black colours of New Zealand. There's Kachihara, Yumi, former world champ. Medals at the Olympics. So close to winning gold at her home Olympic Games. Silver medal in Tokyo for the 29-year-old from Japan. Just went a little bit too early in that scratch race to maximise the points, but it did show she has some good form, as she always does, Yumi. So, underway. 40 laps for the women's tempo. 2nd discipline within the 4-bunch race event that is the women's omnium. First to make a move though, Helena Hesters. As I mentioned, it's often the case before the first points are on offer, riders go on the attack, and the peloton, they know that it's only 1 point to be gained each time, and they let them stay out there for a long time. And sometimes the tactic for the peloton is to just go as slow as they can to try and force those riders that have attacked to take a lap on the field and get back into the race. It's sometimes the only way that those riders back in the main field have the opportunity to get back into the race and start chasing points. So it's kind of unusual. The only race where sometimes slowing down is the only tactic you have. So from now on, it's first rider across the line, 1 point each time, with 3 riders out in front. Brautigam from Germany, Fidanza and Hesters. They've got half a lap on the field, so you imagine they will share each of these points. So Brautigam will be the first one to come through and pick up 1 point. And you can almost pencil it in that Fidanza will be the next one to score a point. Lap turns each to share as they come across the line. There they are. And they'll also be looking at trying to get a lap on the field here and picking up 20 points for each of them if they do so. Fidanza with the 1 point. Hester's not too far from the back of the bunch, but Helena will definitely want to stay out there long enough to at least pick up 1 point. And I think they'll stay out there for a little bit longer than that even. So you can see a little bit of action in the field, but the riders that are out in front, just towards the back. Hester's looks like she does want to get to the back, and she'll get 20 points when she does make contact. But Alticum and Fidanza, they're not struggling. They're just trying to be tactically savvy. Stay off the back as long as they can. Keep gobbling up the 1 point each time they come around. So Hester's has made her way into the field. And you can see Fidanza and Alticum doing likewise. So that means now out in front, picking up the 1 point, will be Stenberg. So 2 riders about to come into the finishing straight now. So I need to Stenberg. That's 1 point for her, as she's now the leader on the track. And at this stage, what I can do is introduce co-commentator for a little bit tonight in Lynn Teutenberg. So Lynn, firstly, you would have liked to have been out there, or at least in the Madison last night, the elimination on the first day. You would have had a lot of time, a lot of fun doing these races, but you're not on the track, Lynn. So what's happened?
Yeah, I was in Hong Kong last week for the Nations Cup and crashed in the Omnium. And unfortunately was struggling a bit with some concussion issues, so we decided for safety to skip this weekend, just to be sure I'm fully recovered and have no long-term issues. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame to be here and not be able to race. I really would have liked to, but yeah, safety and health comes first.
Yeah, but it's to my benefit because we now get to have you in commentary, so we get a real insider's insight into what's happening. So Stenberg out in front, still picking up each of these points. So this is looking good for the 33-year-old from Norway. She has Mehas from Chile. Chilean rider with her. That's Cortez. And it does look as if Stenberg's been picking up each of those 1 lap points each time through. So Cortez happy just to be taken around. So she'll get the 20 points now as well. So both those riders will gain 20 points each. So that's really good right there for Scarlett Cortez to at least throw herself in the mix by gaining that lap.
Yeah, and also there's some more pairs behind on the attack. So sometimes then you even try to attack even though it's not for the points yet, but as soon as the other group make contact with the front, now the second and third group that are just rejoining make the points. So sometimes it's good to race ahead of attack ahead of time before you even race for the points, because now there's still no points available in the bunch.
Yep, so if you're trying to save your legs and stay in the bunch, you're picking up nothing at all. 4 riders now in the lead group. Lee on the front, Acevedo, mentioned her. The longer we go, the better she'll get, the point race world champion. Ingram from the United States. A lot of action on the front of the field, so it's going to be not that easy to get themselves around. And Valgonen is also there in the light blue colours, third wheel. Acevedo will come around to pick up the 1 point on offer this time. Peloton strung out a little bit more. So it is Stenberg with the amount of laps it took her to get around, plus the lap gain. So 5 sprint points she picked up. 5 laps off the front, and then the 20 points as well. So Anita Stenberg leads the way on 25. Hester's on 22, but Alticum 21, your compatriot and teammate. Same points as Fidanza. And the next lap gain, Valgonen will be the first one to get to the back of the bunch. So she'll get 20. She has 2 points from crossing the line first.
Yeah, you could really see now that Lara Gillespie, she's really sharp. She was really attentive what's happening. She saw that the group behind was about to catch the peloton, so she attacked already to get the first points that were available in the bunch.
So Gillespie will pick up the point as they go through. There was a little gap down the back straight with 3 of the riders hadn't quite made contact, but they had already given confirmation.
Oh, and
the officials had decided.
For Stenberg.
Oh, Stenberg with the mechanical. You see at the top of the screen, so Stenberg with the mechanical. That's a shame, the leader. She does have a few laps to get herself back into the race, but
when
she's
the race really opens up, it's yeah, really crucial to be fast now back on the spare bike.
So you can see at the top of the screen, Stenberg is getting the spare bike ready to go. So she won't be out for too long. Now, often in a normal race, a scratch race, you might be happy to soak up the extra couple of laps that you are allowed to have to come back into the race. Oh, she just slid the back wheel there as she was putting the power down to get herself going. It's slippery on the painted blue band. Now she's getting back into the race, but she's going to have to sprint to get back on here. So Stenberg, big cost of energy. You can see now out of the saddle, sprinting at the back of the bunch to come on. Out in front, it's Kachihara that comes through. So 1 point for Kachihara, former world champion, Olympic silver medalist, off the front with Sam Donnelly. So Stenberg has got back to the group just in front of her, but there's a big gap to the main field.
Yeah, and with the race really being on at the moment, she will have a hard time coming back to the main bunch.
So that's her just coming through at the bottom there. Out in front, Donnelly still leads the way. Kachihara. So they're working well together, those two. Dupin also trying to come across for France. Last place in the scratch race after the nice little attack she put in to try and win the scratch. Unfortunately, caught and put right out the back. Dupin from France. So Stenberg has made her way to the back of the main field. Hopefully she can get a deep breath now and recover. 11 laps to go. Donnelly with the point. Her and Kachihara working really well together. Dupin not too far away from joining them, but she hasn't picked up a single point for the massive effort that she's put in. Still, Dupin with the orange helmet riding for France, trying to catch those two out in front. Lorena Wiebes, the world champion, is now gone off the front of the main field. We haven't seen too much from Lorena. No points to add to her tally just yet. Going down 1 lap is Beth Ingram. So the American in a bit of trouble. There's the leaders, Japan and New Zealand. And Dupin has not been able to get across and make contact. So she's putting in a huge effort once again, as we saw in the scratch race, and she's not getting any points for it. So this could be very detrimental.
Now she is Wiebes and Gillespie coming from behind, so hopefully she can join them and they can maybe catch up to the first two, or at least hold up the bunch. Because still, if they get 0 points, she will be first without points across the line if they can hold up the bunch. So still quite good position.
6 laps to go. Stenberg still leads by taking a lap and picking up some points. And the riders that are gobbling up the points now haven't been able to get themselves around and get the 20 points on offer for gaining a lap. So they're still a long way down. Kachihara, considering she's led across the line 6 times, she's still only down in 9th place. So important to get a lap on the field if you can. It's easy said, difficult to do. So there's a real scramble off the front. So this is the main bunch. No more points on offer for them with only 4 laps to go. Too many riders out in front. Once again, Donnelly and Kachihara. Kachihara now with 7 points. Donnelly with 5. Stenberg still leads the way on 25 despite having that mechanical.
3 laps to go.
Into the final 3 laps, and there is the leader, Anita Stenberg. This is okay for her. With only a couple of laps to go, I cannot see the 3 leaders catching the back of the main field. So they'll pick up the last points on offer. But it should mean that Stenberg will hold on to win the tempo. So final 2 laps coming up. Another point for Kachihara. So very important, Lynn, now for all of these riders on 0 points, as you see on the left of the screen, all of those on 0 points, it's going to come down to how they finish on this final lap. Donnelly picks up the penultimate 1 point. Only 1 more point to come now. So they'll scramble back here to guarantee you maximise your position. Kachihara is going to come around to pick up the final points, and she will remain in 9th place. Stenberg will win the tempo, but the scramble from behind, Gillespie, smart move from her to come through, and Lorena Wiebes is the one that we'll closely look at because she only got 1 point in that race, down in 12th place, the world champion.
Yeah, she kind of missed all the moves off the front. I mean, it's also quite hard. It was also some not smaller riders, but they were always sneaking off a bit, and for sure with her world champion jersey, she's not able to do that. So yeah, everybody's watching her, and then she missed the move of really going for that lap. So yeah, really a bummer for her, losing lots of points for the general classification in this race.
But good results for a former medalist at the World Champs in Anita Stenberg. So the spare bike, it worked just as well as the original race bike, as she's very quick change. So Stenberg comes away with the win in the tempo. So 25 points got the win. Acevedo, I did say in the scratch race, the longer the Omnium goes on, the better Acevedo, the Pan American champion, will be. So she finished with 23 points. Then it was Valkonen on 22, same as Hester's, but she finished further up in that final sprint than Hester's. So Valkonen gets third place points. So there was the lap gain. Anita Stenberg showing some real strength.
Yeah, it was actually impressive. She was, when she got back in the bunch with her spare bike, she was in the group behind, but still managed to put in a really big effort to come back to the main group and then even attack out of that to regain contact with the group of Gillespie and Vibes. So impressive ride, and for sure lots more to come. With her winning the elimination race already in the World Cup, for sure that will be a good discipline for her. So,
well, two good results. So she won the Omnium, but it also means that with a good result in the scratch race, that'll put her right to the very top in the overall standings. Gillespie finished third there, so won 3 points. As we go further down, the riders with no points, it all came down to where they finished in the bunch on that final sprint to determine their placing within the tempo itself. So 2 more races to come in the women's Omnium. A little bit of a scare there for Anita with the flat tyre. When she got going again, it was interesting. She put the pressure on while she was down on the darker blue concrete painted band. And a little bit of drifting around the bend. So the decider in the men's sprint semi-finals, 1 race apiece for Nicholas Paul and Azul Hasniak. So the crowd are going to be up and about here. They would like to see their man make it into the final. And Nicholas Paul, former world champion, silver medalist in the sprint, he wants to be the man to stop that from happening. He wants to be racing for gold or silver. Last night here in Nilai, the crowd bared witness to just a spectacular men's keirin final. See what Awang can produce this time. Must-win situation if he wants a chance to race for the gold medal in the men's sprint. Awang versus Paul. Almost everyone focused on the track. And a super slow start. So drawing position number 1. Azazul is obligated to lead for the first half lap at least walking speed. And that's why the official on the left is walking around just to determine what walking pace is. And unless, of course, Nicholas Paul wants to take that first position. But once they get halfway down the back straight, if Awang really is desperate to go into second position, then he is allowed to stop on the track and balance, try and force Nicholas Paul to come into that lead spot. They're only allowed to do that twice within the sprint race and for a maximum of 30 seconds each time. Men's sprint now, only 3 laps of the track. Back in the day it was 4 laps. You had a little bit more time to play around with those standing stops and tactics, but still very slow for Awang, but Nicholas Paul giving himself a little bit of extra room to manoeuvre into. So into the steep banking here for Awang. Oh, this is extraordinary. And Nicholas Paul tactically happy with the situation. He remains in second position. 2 laps to go. Men's sprint decider in the semi-finals. Super close second race. And once again, ducking and weaving up and down the track. It does load the muscles up, though, when you do try and stop on the track like they were doing previously. So now we get to the point of no return. Azazulawang leads. They'll get the bell this time, and Nicholas Paul, the former world record holder, goes over the top of Awang. So Paul into the box seat here, 1 win away from going into the final, and throwing in the towel is Azazulawang. He won the Keirin last night in spectacular fashion, but it'll be Nicholas Paul that goes into the final against Harry Leveson. So the world champion up against the former world record holder in the race for gold in the men's sprint here in Malaysia. We will, of course, see Azazul Hasni Awang come back out to race for the bronze medal. He'll be against Nikita Kiritsev. So, interesting race, fascinating to watch. Disappointment for the local crowd, but you have to hand it to Nicholas Paul. He matched the tactics of Awang and then outmatched him in terms of pure power. Never underestimate the speed of the man from Trinidad and Tobago. So the race for gold, Leveson versus Paul, and the race for bronze will be perhaps for the local crowd more fascinating than the race for gold. It's not often the case. But he's such a star, and it's not to be overstated just how well known Azazul is here in Malaysia. There's a local chocolate drink that he's sponsored by, so he's on the picture of him on his bike. He's on the carton of that particular brand in every shop in Malaysia. Such a well-known athlete. And that's just one of the products that he endorses here. Men's Madison this time. Women's Madison last night. Lynn Teutenberg, unfortunately, was not on the start line, but that does make her an absolute insider when it comes to Madison racing. And Lim, we've got some big stars here in the men's race to look out for. You can talk about Germany in just a moment. We'll get to them next. But let's go to the Netherlands first, because the combination we have of Doornbos and Hopperzak, they were 6th of the World Championships back in 2024, but they were the European champions last year, that combination. So that's a good team to look out for. The women's Dutch team won last night. Can they do the double here and win the men's as well?
Yeah, I believe they're big candidates for the win. Seeing not Hopperzak, but seeing Janne Doornbos race yesterday showed that he had really great shape. Just missed out a bit in the elimination, was bit unlucky elimination quite early. Otherwise, I think he would have for sure been there for the win. Ended up 3rd in the end, but yeah, they are big candidates for the win today for sure. Next to the Germans, hopefully. Next to the Germans.
I'm going to talk about them in a moment. Switzerland were 3rd in the women's last night, so we'll see how they go here in the men's race. Bogley and Fogel. And we saw the New Zealanders there. And in the days of aerodynamics, the long hair flapping out the back of the Kiwis. It's to be debated. Now, I can't say too much because I actually raced with a ponytail for a number of years back in the day. But we weren't thinking about aero back then. It was just about being cool.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays there's so much effort and like research going into aerodynamics, and this is really in such easy point to change, just using a hair tie and hiding that hair that all we girls do. Like, we all try to hide our hair as good as possible to make it more aero. And for sure, like, there's a lot of tests also showing how much you lose just having your hair open like that, but sometimes style has to go above performance, basically.
One of the more stylish looking men is one of the biggest on the track as well, the European champion, Roger Kluge, at the age of 40. He's already a European champion, 3 times a world Madison champion. So alongside Moritz Augenstein, who won the scratch race at the World Championships last year. We'll look out for France as well, of course. Oscar Julien, who was born in London but now rides for France. So Germany, Roger Kluge at his age. Okay, yeah, he's powerful. We know that. He has the strength, he has the endurance. But how much of a factor is the experience that he has? How much does that help in a race like the Madison?
Yeah, it really helps a lot. Having that overview and that knowledge that he has, I think it really lifts up everybody racing the Madison with him. They all benefit from it. Also Tim and Moritz, they really benefit from the knowledge that Roger has and that he built up during the last year's racing also with Theo Reinhardt. So yeah, he's a bit like a fine wine, aging quite well. Still also producing good powers, so that combination is really helpful.
Belgium always good in the Madison race, so expect a good result from this combination. You mentioned Theo Reinhardt. Now, Roger Kluge did win 2 world titles in the Madison with him, but the most recent world championship victory that he had was with another German. Who was that?
My little brother,
Your
Tim
little brother.
Teutenberg.
Yes, shout out to Tim if you're watching. So a great young what a great young rider in what an incredible family, the Teutenberg family. Father Lars, Auntie Ina, Uncle Sven. So New Zealand, they've had some great credentials as well. That's Tom Sexton. George Jackson is the one with the long hair. So you don't have to worry about the black and red numbers when it comes to the Kiwis. It's just long hair or no hair, or short hair we should say, Jackson and Sexton. So we get underway, 200 laps of the track, sprint every 10 for 5, 3, 2 and 1 point. Take a lap on the field, you'll get 20 points for doing so, and the final sprint is worth double, 10, 6, 4 and 2. And the first changes are about to be made. The hand slings, always nervous the first couple of changes when the bunch is all together and everyone, their partners coming off the track at similar times, so it gets really messy until they start to spread out around the track a little bit more.
Yeah, with so many teams on the track, it's always a big mess, especially in the first bit before it gets a bit stretched out. So it's really crucial to manage that good positions in the beginning of the race to also save some energy, because now the Belgians, they are third last position. They will spend a lot of energy just going always over the top, really spending a lot of time above the blue line, which is a longer way and a bigger effort. So yeah, it really makes a big difference if you get that first lap's position done right.
So Graham Frisley for the United States. Grew up in Australia, but he was born in Montana. And for a long time he was sporting a beard, more of a moustache these days, but known as Grizzly Frisley, having come from Montana, now riding for the United States, and he's been doing wonderfully well. Peter Moore, his partner, medalist in the points race at the World Championships last year. So the American combination haven't had great results internationally, but I can tell you that this combination of Moore and Frisley is quality. A little bit of a mix-up there in the change for the European champions from Germany, Moritz and Kluge, but they did make the changeover. So just really messy. It's like being in a washing machine at the moment until they sort themselves out.
Yeah, and then sometimes because you just have to choose one line where you come into the bunch kind of, and then everybody goes up, so also your partner goes up, and then sometimes you end up the wrong way around, but yeah, they still managed to give each other a little push. So now Roger in the race.
Yeah, experience. Yeah, you can see, we were mentioning that experience gives you such an advantage in this race. So, and I saw again there, an awkward change from China, going around the wrong side. So experience gives you the opportunity to see what's coming ahead and the possibility to save some energy as we come into the first of the points laps. And it's the team we were talking about to start with. They were the European champions last year, and Netherlands will pick up the first 5 points. Belgium fighting against Spain for 3 and 2, and it will be Spain that gets second, so 3 points for them. Kazakhstan will pick up 1 point in 4th place. And immediately through these sprints, just watch how much the peloton stretches out. Throw in a couple of hand slings just to slow things down and change the pace a little bit, and the gaps open up. And if you are too far back, like the French team right at the very back, high on the track and bridging gaps, using energy.
Yeah, even if you're not competing for the sprint, it's still crucial to be up there in the first positions, just to don't have that gaps in front of you open up and you are having to close them. So it's always crucial in this race to have a good position and maintain that as good as possible.
Flick of the elbow from Kazakhstan.
That was really close, everybody going out.
Woof. So flick of the elbow, but it was basically as he was turning right. And you see the Italian, Gali, was just overlapping the wheel a little bit. Kluger likewise. They've flicked up the track, and that was so close as the rider from Switzerland was coming down to make a change. Through the gap for the Netherlands. And immediately you can see the rider there from Netherlands, straight off the change, going around the outside, getting some clear air, hovering on the outside of Moritz Augenstein from Germany in the blue colours, blue and white colours there with the white sleeves, the European champion. Interesting story for Moritz. Has been around for a long time, but not at highest international levels. Then goes to the World Championships last year and wins the scratch race.
Yeah, he was supposed to be at the big competitions before, but he was really unlucky. Worlds 2 years ago, he had a really bad crash just before, so he couldn't compete. And then last year before the Europeans, they got hit by a car with like a lot big group from the national team, so he also couldn't compete. So then finally last year for the Worlds, he could come and compete, and directly showed up winning the World Champions title, so that was really nice.
Not too far from the next sprint. So this is the fastest bunch race you'll ever see on the velodrome, the relay effect. So they start to really think 5 laps out from a sprint where they need to be. And they'll come around to get the bell this time for the second of our intermediate sprints. And it is Moritz Augenstein, the man we were talking about, right on cue. Down the back straight, the scratch race world champion, the European Madison champion, Poland make the change late. Staniszewski comes in, Italy in third, and they will remain that way across the line. So Germany, Poland, Italy, and Belgium picking up 1 point for 4th place. So good ride that time through. Roger Kluger comes back in. So close to crashing only a couple of laps ago, the big man. There's confirmation, Germany, Poland, Italy and Belgium. And 2 teams now on 5 points after the first 2 sprints, but Netherlands not getting a place that time. It's Germany and the Netherlands that lead on 5 points apiece. Belgium and Spain equal third. Early runnings though. No attacks just yet in the men's Madison. 61 kilometres per hour was the average speed last week in Hong Kong in this race. There's the confirmation of the points that we've had so far. Kazakhstan, 1 point for them, so good to see them on the board. So Poland come through. See the light green colours right up around the top there. Slovenia starting to make a move, so desperate to get themselves into a better position here. They sit above the Netherlands, and all those teams that are continuing to ride down the back. And I've mentioned France already sitting last place, and they're again right down the back there. Nilsson, Julien and Petit, so high on the track.
Yeah, it's always the French and the New Zealand guys that just hang out the back there, and also really having to put in a big effort, especially in the sprint laps. So I wonder why they don't even look like they're trying to really move up there, but
well, maybe
I'm expecting something to come soon, well, but it's costing a lot of energy just hanging out there for the whole time. Already now you can see the speed going up again. With the 3 laps to go to the sprint, the other riders are preparing the sprint to then have the rider ideally coming in like 1 lap before the sprint to then really fight for the points.
Well, I mentioned that we'll get into it after this next sprint, because they're coming around this time for the 3rd of our sprints. And it is Mexico on the front, Kazakhstan, then Switzerland and Spain.
Yeah, so really late change for Mexico there.
Oh, and might have a chance to come back to get the win underneath off the sling, but he just does. So that was, we talk about trying to get the timing right for coming for the hand slings. They dodged a bullet there because they did hold on to get the 5 points, but it's so late in the lap that often in that change so late, the second rider will go over the top. So at least they picked up the points. Great result there for Mexico. Gaps opening up everywhere, as it always does after these sprints. So Mexico, Switzerland, Kazakhstan and Spain. And we'll now have three teams tied on 5 points: Germany, Mexico, and Netherlands. Let's talk about that a little bit, okay? So we saw how Mexico came in so late in the change. It worked out for them that time. If you do have a little bit of space, if they've sprung right out, maybe it's not so dangerous to come in and change so late. But there is the race outside of the race, isn't there? The riders that aren't in as they're approaching the next sprint, it's their obligation to speed up or slow down to make sure they are in the right position for these changes.
Yeah, and sometimes if you realize you're super late for the sprint, like you would change half a lap before the finish line, then sometimes it's better to just speed up and be there just after the finish line for the change, to not lose that position. Because if the riders already go above you and you change underneath kind of, then you are really likely to lose that position in the final sprint or in the sprint. So sometimes then it's better to speed up and just change after the finish line.
Yep. That's Moritz Augenstein from Germany. Big move now from New Zealand.
Waited so long, and now directly from last position to out the front.
Sexton it is. We knew a team like New Zealand was not going to hover at the back for too long. And here comes the flappy hair of George Jackson down the back straight.
Yeah, and you can see in the Netherlands, Italian guys, the Germans directly up behind catching. They don't want to let the gap open up to them.
That has caused a big reaction. Netherlands, Italy, Slovenia, Germany and Belgium. So some of the big favourites of the acceleration from New Zealand, absolutely making sure they're not going to miss out here. So New Zealand comfortably going to come away with the 5 points. Netherlands trying to hold on. So late change, but you can see because they're out in front, it didn't matter when they changed. It was just about getting it done any time because they had the move. And Sexton, the man that made the attack, continues on the front. So Germany are the ones now left scrambling a little bit because they are the next riders on the track as Italy and Netherlands bridge the gap. Change for Italy in front. And it's Roger Kluger that'll be trying to close the gap down. Good ride here from the lads in the lime green of Slovenia. Erzen and Petterlin also coming across with Germany. So New Zealand, Netherlands, Italy and Germany. It takes Netherlands to the top. 8 points for them in the overall standings. Still 157 laps to go. And coming together, Germany have made it across, Belgium likewise, and now all the top favourites are there. They've all swung up. And often the hesitation, the only way that perhaps these other teams have any chance of getting themselves back into the race. So of the riders, the teams we were thinking might be good here, who's missed out? Who are down the back and struggling? Mexico, who won that last sprint, are off the back of the peloton. So that how deep they went in the sprint.
Yeah, they really had a big effort for that last sprint, and then the peloton really started racing afterwards. So it comes back together, so they might have the chance to recover and go back into the race. But yeah, that really hurts.
And they all, anyone that's out the back now, you can see all the traffic of the riders that are rolling around trying to recover. You have to get through them. You have to get through all those other riders that have made their changes. Can be quite dangerous. Mexico have made contact with the back of the bunch, so they're back in. So New Zealand letting us all know they're not here to chase the sprints. They want to go for laps.
France almost missed the change there, but just made it.
Crucial, isn't it, to make sure you make those exchanges, especially when the race is really on.
Yeah, for sure. Going double is really, really hard. I mean, if the race is easy, then sometimes if one of the riders is really on the limit already, people go double just to have the other rider recover a bit. But especially now with the sprint coming up, it's crucial to get that change in, even if it means you have to wait for a bit for the rider to catch up.
So New Zealand over the top, 5 points. So they're starting to come into their own now, New Zealand, showing really good signs here.
And just continuing also.
Roger Kluger, look over the shoulder. 3 points for the sprint.
Yeah, really accelerating to that wheel of the New Zealand guys now.
Roger has indicated that he wants to go to the next Olympic Games. So he'll be 42 if he does so. Now, I raced against a 43-year-old at the Olympics who picked up a bronze medal in Etienne de Wilde from Belgium. So age in the Madison, perhaps no barrier. It hasn't seemed to have been for Roger Kluger, the three-time world champ. Last time he won the Worlds was 2024 with your brother, and European champion already, so it certainly has not slowed the big man down. So 10 points, New Zealand come from nowhere in the last 12 laps or so with some great attacking, strong riding from them. So Augenstein, this was the setup for the previous sprint. George Jackson having none of it.
Now a big move.
A huge move coming off the front of the peloton here. Peter Moore it is. The USA will be looking now for Graham Frisley. Frisley about to come in down the back straights. So I did give these guys a pretty good wrap as a combination. Peter Moore picked up a silver medal in the points race at the World Championships last year. Frisley, who's been multiple times Australian Omnium champion, good in the Madison as well, and they have got a big advantage. And I would say that Germany, New Zealand, Netherlands wouldn't be looking too closely at USA thinking that they're massive favourites. So there's a real opportunity here that they can upset some of those other stars.
Yeah, the bunch is really going up now, and they already gained half a lap more now. So yeah, they can really benefit from that. It's also quite early still, so they can still find time to recover after taking in hopefully maybe quite easy lap. Sprint also coming up now, so they will also get the 5 points.
So as they come through the back of the field, traffic to negate as they come around, but they'll get the 5 points, and it will be an extraordinarily fast lap gain. So 5 points for the USA. The race is spread all the way out around. They need to keep going because the team from Hong Kong have been struggling, so they don't want to spend too much time back here. Close the gaps down as quickly as possible and get into the field. So it was Italy that came across the line. They're off the front of the main field. But at the back, we focus on the US. They're a quarter of a lap down on where they need to get the 20 points. Peter Moore, great acceleration from him. So picked up the 5 points, then got to the back wheel of Hong Kong, and then balked a little bit because Hong Kong were going out the back. Frisley it is that's still trying to make contact with the peloton. 20 points to gain a lap on the field, and what looked like it was going to be a really easy lap gain has dragged out a little bit more than they were hoping for. Italy are still just off the front of the bunch in second position.
Now they're into the back of the bunch.
There they go. Lap has been gained. So the USA picked up the 5 points. They get the 20 points as well. So a 25-point turnaround for the United States of America. Fantastic riding from them. Italy got the 3 points in the previous sprints. They go to 5th place on 7, but it's the USA that'll be out on top now. 25 points for them. New Zealand on 10, Germany 9, Netherlands 8, and then 2 teams on 7, Italy and Mexico. Spain the next ones to go. Hector Alvarez. Netherlands not interested.
Kazakhstan going behind with the French also.
Well, France, they were sitting last wheel for a long time. They saw what the New Zealanders were able to do when they got to the front of the peloton. So 3 teams.
Everybody else looking a bit at each other. Nobody really wants to take responsibility. So
yeah, what's going on?
Everybody is waiting a bit for each other sometimes, and then the smaller or second row teams kind of benefit from it, with the big teams just looking at each other and nobody really wanting to take responsibility.
Well, there's only one more point on offer for the riders back in the main field. 3 teams off the front. Spain will pick up the 5. France will come through for 3. Then it's Kazakhstan. Mexico have jumped off the front of the field, so they'll come through now to get 1 point. 4th place for them. But there's once again a scramble to get to the back of the field. And Alvarez is hunting down the peloton. That's the gap. Looking for his partner. About to make the change. Here he is. He's about to come down now. Left hand down. And off this change, he should be able to accelerate straight into the back of the field. France have closed the gap down as well, so they'll quickly also take a lap. So there's 20 points added. Another 25-point turnaround. This time it's for Spain, and they'll go right to the top. That'll take them to 29. Now, Spain have had wonderful credentials in the Madison throughout the years, but not with this combination. So good to see them back up there. Belgium have attacked off the front.
Looks like the French team is waiting to get the next sprint also in. They're just not regaining.
Yep, so Belgium are off the front in the back straight there. They're in second position because just through on the bottom there with the orange helmet, that's the French team. They have not made contact with the back of the field. So they are rolling the dice here to stay just behind the peloton to try and pick up the next sprint. 124 laps to go. Still another 3 laps until they get to the next of the intermediate sprints.
Yeah, it's a really risky move, especially with the speed in the bunch going up again. That elastic can snap and then you are quicker back in the bunch and don't have the lap than you think. So always quite dangerous to poke her back there to go for another points lap.
Well, they've made a mistake here because, well, the riders have, because France have been given the 20 points for taking a lap, and they are now coming to the back of the peloton and hearing the bell out in front for Belgium. So they were trying to do the sneaky tactic of hang off the back, get the next sprint, then go in to take the lap, but the officials gave them the lap gain. So it'll be Belgium that'll pick up the 5 points, and all France will get out of that is tired legs. New Zealand, 3 points for second. Italy, 2 points for third. And then it was Slovenia in the lime green colours, 1 point for them. So yes, talk about risky tactics. They completely blew that one, France. They're still sitting 4th place on 24 after gaining a lap, but they were hoping to pick up a sneaky 5. That was not the case.
Yeah, that's always on decision a bit on the commissaires when they give that lap gain. So now they decided that when Kazakhstan entered, they also give the lap to France, that they were one group. So yeah, lots of energy lost for nothing for the French team, and now they're in a group off the back with all the bunch splitting up.
So we have this formation out in front. So this is the main peloton. Behind that, USA have gone off the back. So they did take a lap. They're sitting in third overall.
Just over the top there with the exchange. They used the speed they got from the exchange to directly attack the bunch.
So USA scrambling to keep themselves back in this race, and out in front, the Netherlands absolutely powering off the front. 115 laps to go, still haven't got to the halfway point. Several laps have already been gained. Netherlands absolutely motoring, and the gap has really opened up. Slovenia trying to keep themselves in the hunt. Germany is about to come past them. Meanwhile, the orange colours, we've seen them so often out in front of a Madison at the highest level. This combination were the European champions last year. The current European champions, they are behind, trying to scramble to get back towards the front. And France, I can tell you, France is still trying to get themselves back in contention at the back of the field. So their tactics have completely blown up in their face. Netherlands over the top of Hong Kong and Mexico. So Italy are the next team on the track. There they are, just at the top.
Just
top
being
of the screen.
chased by the European champions that are about to make contact with the Italian team. So it's Netherlands in front, and then the Germans and the Italian team behind, trying to catch them back.
So over the top of Kazakhstan as they go 1 lap down. Netherlands pick up the 5. Then it's Germany and Italy. New Zealand will be the next ones across the line. Desperately trying to keep themselves in contention here, New Zealand. And of the teams that took the lap earlier on, there's a few that are in a lot of trouble at the moment.
Yeah, sometimes then you really pay for that effort early on if you can't recover quick enough, especially in such a long race. And now it's really everything into pieces, the whole bunch, with more than half still to go.
So Netherlands coming over the top of China. Just hesitating for a moment time to get some rest before the change. And off the back of the change, I imagine they will continue on past China. There's a group just in front. In that group is the United States. France is at the front of this group as well. So they have really missed out. Netherlands now with a lap gain has been determined, and they go up to 33. So the officials with a tough job to determine where the actual main field is, the peloton, because it has split up so much. Germany just about to make contact now. You can see the orange colours. And Kazakhstan just behind them. Then it's Germany in the European champions colours, and Italy about to get themselves back up to the Netherlands. There they go. So Augenstein in the blue and white as the Euro champ. Italy come across as well. Now New Zealand have drifted back because they were the next team on the track, but they have gone back into a group alongside Switzerland, Belgium, Mexico and Hong Kong. Mexico and Hong Kong have just hoping to get back into this race because they've gone 20 points down, unfortunately for them. So at 103 laps to go. The leaders on the track after that lap gain from Netherlands, Germany and Italy is now determined that it is Belgium that is the lead team on the track. They're not too far from catching Netherlands here. So they get the bell still though. So Belgium, New Zealand and Switzerland. With the bell sounding, they had the opportunity to pick up the 5 points, and Belgium not thinking about it too well because New Zealand's going to come over the top here and get the 5 points. So it'll be 5 points to New Zealand, also a lap gain for them as well. Belgium won't be too far from getting on to the back of the peloton also. Switzerland are also in the mix. So a little mistake there I felt from Van der Branden. And so you know the regulations. If you are coming to the back of the field to gain a lap, as long as there is still a gap and you haven't made contact, they ring the bell for the team that is the leading team. And that's what was the case there with Belgium. So regardless if you catch the peloton throughout that sprint lap, you still are the lead team and will pick up the 5 points.
Big move from the Chinese team.
To China, showing some courage here. No points for them down in 14th place. So New Zealand, Belgium and Switzerland now to get themselves back up in contention. And Germany and New Zealand go right back up to the top. So 37 points apiece. Netherlands just behind them. But I must say, Netherlands, after that last lap gain from all of those teams, to me appeared to be perhaps the strongest team on the track. Slovenia, next team trying to get themselves a lap gain.
Yeah, they started going off the front with the German team and always lost contact. Then got also overtaken by the New Zealand and Belgium and Swiss group. So still out the front, fighting to gain that lap.
In Petalin it is. They'll be happy to look up and see that there has been a hesitation in the peloton. They have bunched up a little bit, so there's a chance for Slovenia, even though they were dropped by Germany as they took their lap on the field. Now Slovenia come into the back of the field.
Also the Chinese team almost catching the bunch again, so they had a really quick lap compared to the Slovenian team. They really had to put in a big effort over a lot of laps.
Well, China are minus 20 because they did go a lap down. You lose 20 points for doing so. You gain a lap, you get 20 points back. So they can get themselves back up to 0 at least. Showing some strength, but they're not quite there. Acceleration is coming because it's not too far for the next sprint. This is the challenge with the sprints being every 10 laps. There's always this acceleration, 3 or 4 laps from each of the sprints. It's so hard to gain a lap when that happens. Spain will come through at the next bell. Kazakhstan and Spain. Second rider's not going to be on the track, so it'll be Alvarez that will come around to pick up the 5 points. They'll make the change somewhere down the back straight perhaps. Kazakhstan second, Belgium, then Italy. China have made contact at the back, almost. Slovenia also. So out in front, it's still Spain that lead through. New Zealand about to make their change, just ahead of Germany, the black colours of New Zealand, the silver fern. And easing off at the front. So this will be good for all of us to just reset, take a deep breath, see where everybody is, see what laps have been taken. 88 laps to go. And the race is all back together for the first time since the start. So the overall standings, New Zealand on 39 points, Spain 34. Then it's Belgium and Netherlands, 33 apiece. 1 point further back is Germany and Italy on 32. Kazakhstan riding well, sitting in 7th on 30. Switzerland 25, United States 8th on 25 points as well. And France, who would have some very tired legs after the goings on in this race, are down in 10th place on 24.
Looks like a bit the calm before the storm. Now everybody's waiting when the teams open up the final, and there comes the Germans saying, okay, now it's on. Closely followed by the team from New Zealand.
Kluger, the big man, comes from the far east of Germany, near the Polish border, and working well here with George Jackson.
The Swiss team leading the bunch, with the Netherlands just behind, but yeah, it's really dangerous to let that gap open up to that two teams.
Big acceleration from Alex Vogel off the front of the field. And that's drawn the Netherlands out with them. Spain has gone with them as well. Belgium is also there. Kazakhstan is the best of the rest as they come into the next of the intermediate sprints. 81 laps to go. And it's Moritz Augenstein down the back straight, about to make the change with Roger Kluger. They'll be strong enough to stay in the lead. New Zealand about to make their change. So 5, 3, 2 and 1. And Roger continues on.
Flat tire for the Swiss team, so they are out of the group. So now the rider out of the race has to get back into the group they were racing with and has to stay there as long as
well, this is going to be a disaster actually for them.
Yeah, just really big effort there, but normally the rider out of the race, he has to accelerate now into the group that they were in.
Well, he has. It's just at the bottom of the screen now. That was Switzerland going through. So the rider that was out of the race when his partner had the flat tyre did drop down into the race, but he dropped down at the very back, and they are almost half a lap down now. So this could be disastrous for Switzerland. And that's Noah Bogley that's trying to keep himself in the race.
Luckily,
while Alex
the
Vogel
bunch is
comes back.
Bunching up now a bit, so they might get a chance to come back into the race, but really bad luck for them as they were really at the sharp end of the race.
So off the front, France recovered from the efforts they made earlier. Now going on the attack with 75 to go. Italy follow them. Nicolo Galli from Italy, the tall man, in second position.
Really well-timed attack from the French team, with all the big teams making a really big effort just before.
Keirin, who won the elimination last week in Hong Kong. Third this weekend here in Nilai. And he has Clément Petit. And after the big acceleration, they're working together, but don't seem to have the same sort of impetus they did as their teammates. Gali and Nilsen Julien, who was the Frenchman that went on the attack to force this gap. We'll let you know that Switzerland are still struggling to get to the back of the peloton after having that mechanical. Italy and France off the front as they come to the next intermediate sprint. Galli and Nilsen Julien from France. But it is the big man, Nicolo Galli, the Italian, will come through to pick up the 5 points. Spain, 2 points. New Zealand, 1.
Just off the front of the bunch there with that sprint. But the Netherlands are really watching it and just closing the gap down again to that duo.
So there's our leading two out in front. Big gap. They are half a lap from the rear of the peloton. So real chance if they can continue working well together here. Switzerland have made it to the back of the field, so they sit in 9th place on 25 points, but after that mechanical mishap, good to see them at least back in the peloton, but the field is strung out so much. There's certainly no respite being back there. Keirin comes through on the front. 67 to go. Another change made. Gali comes in. It's Spain that's doing the majority of the chasing, and now not really willing to do too much. It's Jackson from New Zealand. They need to keep the pace on because two teams working well together out in front have a clear advantage to gain a lap. They're approaching the Chinese team. Korea just in front of them. So past China. China might have an opportunity now to come back into the field if they can be dragged along by Italy and France. Two of the great nations of track cycling, Italy and France. We go back through the history of the Olympic Games and the World Championships. So many gold medals through all of the disciplines on the velodrome.
Really dangerous move by the Korean team there with the leading group overtaking them, and they are not really looking and then going up. That's when it gets really dangerous, when the not so experienced teams then just move on the track kind of without looking.
And China almost had a free ticket to get back into the field, and they have come back again now, but you can just see just two teams working together, and China was struggling just to hang with them. So the second rider for China, it was Li Ni that was struggling a little bit. Another 5 points on offer here. Italy picked them up the last time through. This one, 61 to go. They lead down the back straight again. France will make the change, and they're not far from gaining a lap as well. So they'll pick up the 5 points for this sprint, Italy, and get the 20 for the lap gain. So a huge move for the Italians. They were on 37 points in equal second place. But this move will take them right to the very top, and Italy will be leading the men's Madison here in Malaysia. Still haven't made contact just yet. 3 points for France when they came through, and now about to make contact with the back of the bunch. It's Mexico that changed in front of them, and Italy will get the 20 points now. So 5 for the sprint, 20 for the lap gain, 3 points for France, and they'll get 20 points as well for their lap gain, and that changes everything. Italy go to the top, France will go into second.
Yeah, with again a group of 4 directly going off the front, the Spanish, the Polish, the Swiss and the Belgian team.
Oh, really good to see the Swiss team there, considering the struggles they had after the flat tyre. So good to see them at the front of the bunch this time. Do feel it must have cost them a lot of energy, though. They do need to try and rest and recover as much as they can before they can really get back into this race. So Italy will lead now on 62 points. There's the confirmation. 20 points for both France and Italy. France now on 50, so it's 12 points the advantage that Italy has over France. 7 points from France back to New Zealand.
Big move from the Swiss team now. The group was not really cooperating, so they were like, okay, if you are not willing to go together, then we're just going alone. So it's great to see how they recovered from that mechanical problem and that effort they had to make.
And the big move now coming from Netherlands. They seem to have this tactic, Netherlands. They'll sit back for a few sprints, recover, and then go whack and try and chase the lap. And look how quick this gap closes down. They
go so strong, and it's crazy to see how fast they can open up the gap. But they always went by themselves now, so they always had to put in a really big effort. Also now going straight over the top of the Swiss team that are trying to get back onto the wheel to go with them.
Yeah, look at the effort. You can see the body language of Alex Vogel, absolutely desperately scrambling to get to the back wheel into the slipstream.
Just making it to the back wheel.
Vincent Hopper
before they change. Also good time change now to directly stand
Yeah, changing
next
together.
to each other.
Really important for the riders coming in to catch up to each other to make sure they do change together, although Switzerland didn't do it that well. They will get the 3 points, but they are not on the wheel. So Yanni Dorenbos has accelerated it away. He looks across the track to see where he has to get to. And you can see the fluoro orange helmet of France. That is the back of the bunch he wants to catch.
You can really see the difference of experience there with the change. The team from the Netherlands are really know each other. They are really good in the change, and the Swiss team just losing that contact over that change with the few meters.
Yes, it's a couple of extra lengths every time they change, just in having the experience, the good sling.
Yeah, it's so crucial to get that right. You can save so much energy if your partner gives you a good push, and you can keep up the speed within the change. So it really makes it a big difference, and you can see all the riders, especially doing all the 6 days in the winter, really benefiting from that. Lots of Madison races they are doing, and lots of changes.
You can also indicate the fatigue as well. You can see with Switzerland making their change there wasn't a lot of strength going through the arms and the shoulders, so they really are starting to hurt Switzerland. Hong Kong being caught once again. Netherlands, just a moment for Dorenbos to get some slipstream, deep breath, and then cruising up to the back wheel of France. And now behind them, Switzerland still trying to keep up with Netherlands. They're about the length of the straight behind. And then the next group on the track contains Germany, New Zealand, and Belgium. So straight over the top. They do not want to hang around for long because they know that the other big contenders are not too far behind. And the Netherlands have gone straight over the top.
They don't want to give the others the chance to also make contact with that group. So they're just going straight over it and putting the speed up for the others not being able to chase back to them.
Well, in the old 6-day format, it's known as a duplette, when you take a lap on the field and go straight past and go again. The double, 41 laps to go. And the bell sounds for Germany, New Zealand, and Belgium, as they are the next group on the track. But the Netherlands out in front, not worrying about this sprint. They are trying to get another 20 points for a lap gain.
Yeah, they took the French with them. They are with Tuna, but not really changing there, so Netherlands just leading all the way.
There's Switzerland, who were with Netherlands, and now they're back in the washing machine that is what is left of the peloton. Germany have accelerated through half of the bunch. Belgium and New Zealand at the very back of it, but still out in front. France and Netherlands. It might all come back together here because there is some desperate racing happening behind the Netherlands. So a lap will be gained. That'll change the formation. New Zealand getting onto the back of the bunch, but that takes them right to the top. So New Zealand, Italy, Netherlands, then Germany. Confirmation of the points in the sprint. Throw the lap gains in there as well. And we have the black colours of New Zealand that will be leading the way. On the track, it is France and Netherlands, though, that are out in front. United States also scrambling behind Germany and co. So they've got themselves to the back of the bunch. Graham Frisley there with the red helmet.
The Germans just making contact with the group from the Netherlands, just going over the top.
So the USA scrambling to keep themselves in the race. They've been given a lap up here, so they get their 20 points for doing so, but they're not quite being able to stay in the bunch. So desperately, with 34 laps to go, trying to get get themselves to the back of the peloton. Out in front, though, Germany have gone over the top of the Netherlands. USA trying to keep themselves there. This is what's out now in front. So Germany, indeed, attacked straight over the top of Netherlands. Showing some good signs. They're in second place on 62 points. Netherlands only 2 points further back. And where are New Zealand? So another 5 points coming their way. This will take Germany to the top. They'll be the overall leaders at the end of this lap. Netherlands trying to keep in touch with them. Next team is Korea, but they are losing a lap. France, Mexico, China, and the peloton have completely backed off. Great strength here. Argenstein looking for Roger Kluger. So the US have at least been able to get into the bunch, so they can get some rest now. They'll get the 20 points for doing that. But it's Germany, Kluger down the back straight, the European champion, just getting through the traffic. Netherlands will eventually get themselves around as well. They're a little bit further back behind the Euro champs. But there's Kluger. So they'll go to 82 points after getting this lap. They come up onto the back wheel of Peter Moore. And there it is, contact made.
Yeah, it's really crucial now to get to the front of that group as soon as possible. Lots of teams that are really fatigued now, so you want to move up as quick as you can to not be behind any splits happening when the speed goes up again.
Well, you see the flash of helmets at the bottom of the screen. That was the next attack that's gone off the front of the bunch. So it is important for Germany to not linger too long at the back of this group that they sit, because France is on the hunt. Belgium not too far behind them as well.
The Netherlands just fighting to also get that lap just off the bat.
Well, Netherlands are the leading team on the track at the moment. Germany lead the race overall. So there you see Kluger just making sure he gets over the top of Hong Kong. Korea just in front, USA just there as well. So these are the leaders on the track as it stands. Netherlands, they looked super strong early on, but then with that acceleration from Germany, the Dutch were found wanting a little bit. That's the next group. France is coming through. So they are spread all the way around the track here. It's Netherlands, then France. They've got a couple of riders in tow. Belgium are with France as well. That's the next group. New Zealand and Switzerland after them. Another 5 points up for the Netherlands at the end of this one. 21 laps to go. They sit in third place overall on 63 points. They'll go to 68 after the end of this lap. If they can make contact with what's left of the peloton, they'll be right up there in contention once again to go for gold. France came through in second place in that sprint.
Yeah, they really have that group around France, chasing behind now with the Belgium team also, and just behind the team of New Zealand and Switzerland, also trying to make contact with that group. So,
well, the big move that has come, while Netherlands have been caught by France, just wait at the back of this group. New Zealand are in there as well.
the Germans.
Germany are coming. So Germany are consolidating their position at the top of the leaderboard here. They've chased down that group. Netherlands about to be caught by the European champions. So showing great strength here. This is extraordinary riding from Roger Kluger, Moritz Augenstein. So New Zealand, Switzerland, France, Mexico, Belgium, but at the back of the group, most importantly, Germany.
So now this will be the bunch, as they are the biggest group of the race. So they're not gaining the lap anymore. So if they catch the other group will lose 20 points, I believe. It's always a bit hard to tell. Also, the commissaires will have a hard job now with everything falling into pieces.
I don't envy the commissaires when it comes to the men's Madison in particular. It's always a scramble like this, splits all over the place. So 15 laps to go. And whenever anyone does get a little bit lost as to who's leading, you wait to see the commissaire that's at the finish line, start-finish line, and he points the best he can, to his knowledge, to the leaders of the race on the track. So not the leaders in terms of the point standings, but who's actually out in front and determining who's going for each of the sprint points. So Switzerland, New Zealand, Germany down the back straight. They've got 13. They'll come around to get 12 laps to go. Not far for the penultimate sprint now. Germany not desperately chasing sprint points just yet. Double points on the final sprint. They're in a commanding position, the Germans. So the next sprint is up for grabs. USA off the front. New Zealand, Switzerland. So the USA showing good signs. More. So they sit in 8th place. Good result for them. Sexton changes to Jackson. And it's Jacko now with the flappy hair unleashed. Look at the acceleration from him. So George Jackson down the back straight. So Netherlands ahead of France in the previous sprint. And the reshuffle has them sitting in 3rd place, the New Zealanders, but they are looking very strong off the front. Graham Crisley from the United States just ahead of them, but there's only one more sprint to come. So we can do the calculation now. Double points on the final sprint, 10, 6, 4 and 2. New Zealand are off the front. They have a chance here to go to 77 points. They can get the silver medal. Germany are untouchable out in front. Nothing can happen to them now. With 6 laps to go, they will win the gold medal. But with 1 point between Netherlands and New Zealand, there is the silver and bronze medal up for grabs. Korea once again getting in the way of the riders that are right out in front of this race. Italy also still have a chance to get themselves up into silver medal position. And I think they're about to lose that chance, though, because they are off the back of the bunch and are really struggling. So I don't think Italy's going to contest this last one.
Yeah, they have to really be careful now that they're not losing that lap in that last couple of laps coming.
Belgium on points can still get themselves onto the podium, but they are right at the back of the bunch. So I feel as if it's just going to be between Netherlands and New Zealand for this final sprint, and I think it'll be New Zealand that's going to come up over the top here. So 2 laps to go. New Zealand lead the way through. 10 points on offer in 500 metres time for them. Netherlands nowhere to be seen. They are not going to be in the points on the final sprint. So they sit in the silver medal position, but I feel it's going to be bronze for the Netherlands because Germany have won this one already. 87 points. It's been extraordinary. Here's the Netherlands sitting in silver, desperately trying to get themselves into the points here, but it's going to be too little too late for them because New Zealand will win the final sprint. They'll get the 10 points and go up above the Netherlands. So Germany will win. Netherlands will be second. New Zealand will be second, and Netherlands will be 3rd. But the European champions and the evergreen at the age of 40, Roger Kluge, still the strongest man on the track when it comes to a Madison. Germany win, Albenstein and Kluge. New Zealand with the silver medal, Jackson and Sexton. And then it's Doornbos on and Hopperzak from Netherlands in 3rd.
Yeah, you can really see the experience from Roger there when the race really blew into pieces. He always knew where and when to go, which group to take, so they really benefited from that yet again.
Pat on the back there from George Jackson to Tom Sexton. Good combination. Kiwis have always done well in the Madison, so good to see. They're still competitive. 2nd place for them, but no touching Germany at the end. Once the race got right into it and the fatigue started to come in, it was the strongest that came out on top. So Germany ahead of New Zealand, Netherlands. Italy finished in 4th place in the end. Belgium, young combination of Van der Branden and Van den Hout in 5th. So they're on 58 points, 3 points ahead of France, who had an interesting race for them. I know that they've got much more in them if they can get their tactics a little bit better. They were in 6th place.
Yeah, you can really see the lack of experience for the team of France.
Yep.
Really.
So they're looking at the changes here. This is the way to do it. I was throwing in some critique of the changes in the women's Madison last night. Some were doing it excellently, others a little bit less so. But
yeah, there's still a big difference, especially in the women's bunch, with the lack of experience of racing the Madison. It's not still quite new for us, the discipline. And for the men, I can really feel like having the 6 days, racing 6 days in a row, or I mean nowadays maybe 3, they really benefit from that, doing that on and on changes all the time. It really helps them getting it right, especially when you get fatigued. It's super hard to keep focus on having the technique in the change. So yeah, the more often you do it, the more you benefit from it. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, the men's Madison racing goes back over 100 years. For those that don't know, the name, the Madison, it comes from where it first started, at Madison Square Garden in New York. Hence the name, the Madison. In France, they call it the Americaine, after being started in America. But it was Germany that came away with the win here. 200 laps of the track, and Germany ahead of New Zealand. So we come to the sprint finals now. Race for the bronze medal. The local hero, Azazul Hasni Awan, up against Nikita Kiritsev in the neutral colours. So it doesn't matter what Azazul is racing for. When he comes onto the track, the crowd go berserk. They absolutely love him.
It's crazy to see. It's amazing for him, I think, to have that chance to race in front of the home crowd. Local hero, so it's really nice to see.
Now, Lynn, we weren't sprinters, not track sprinters, but Kiritsev was 20th in qualifying, and he's now racing for the bronze medal. So that's extraordinary that he has that racecraft.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that he managed to get himself into the final for the bronze medal with, on paper, not being one of the stronger riders in this race. But really, tactics make a big difference for the sprinters. Getting the timing right also of the acceleration, playing with your opponent, kind of to force him also to make mistakes. So yeah, it seems like he really got that right, and moving himself into the final for the bronze medal.
0.2 of a second was the difference in qualifying between these two. Azazul Hasni Awang, the faster of the two. He won the keirin last night. Twice a medalist at the Olympic Games in the keirin. And this is the race for the bronze medal here in Nilai, Malaysia. The third and final round of the UCI Track World Cup. Nikita Kiritsev in the first position. Riding above himself throughout the rounds to find himself racing for the bronze medal up against the local hero, Azazul Awang. Tight, close to the back wheel though, Azazul.
Yeah, Wang for sure has the benefit of knowing that track really well. Maybe this is also a bit the point where Kiritsev was losing it a bit in the qualifications. It really makes a big difference for the sprinters to know the track really well, to use the track to gain speed. But this is just a sprint on power, not really using the track so much, just staying in the bottom.
And we'll wait for the pounce to come. Awang down the back straight, both out of the saddle. Interesting sprint between these two, but here he comes, Azazul Awang. The sound of the crowd cheering for him. He goes well in the best of three competition, the race for the bronze medal here in Malaysia. And the hero of sporting fans in this great nation is one up. It was an unusual sprint, both at the bottom of the track, late acceleration. But Azazul had the power to pounce. So he's one win away from getting a bronze here. It'll be a bigger cheer for the bronze medal than it will be for the gold that's coming up next. That little tuck position. Just backing off the wheel stands. If he does win the next one, you guarantee the signature move coming from Azazul, the wheelie across the line, will be coming. Kiritsev has the opportunity, though, to upset the local crowd. Now the world champion, Harry Leveson, comes up onto the track. His opponents from Trinidad and Tobago still to appear on the line. Nicholas Paul. The Dutchman won the last 7 straight world sprint titles, 5 Olympic Games gold medals, 20 world championship titles across all of the sprint disciplines. Last year in Santiago, he won 4 gold medals at the World Championships. The first time that he's actually won all 4 sprint competitions at the Worlds. So he continues to get better. Nicholas Paul, as I said when he raced against Azazul in the semi, not to be underestimated though. Possesses plenty of power. first heat in the men's sprint final. Levresen versus Paul. Netherlands versus Trinidad and Tobago. The fastest cyclist on the planet, with typically the slowest first lap of any race you see.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the difference from them starting to them doing the last half a lap. Speed difference are so high. That tactical plays in the beginning.
Plenty of hours in the gym, the squat rack, to build the muscles these riders have. You have to have the back power and strength to just hold the weights that the legs are able to push.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what they do. It's such a different sport almost to what we do.
2 laps to go. First of the best of 3 competition. Men's sprint final here in Nilai, Malaysia. Final round of the Track World Cup, and it's the world champion Harry Levresen with a comfortable margin at the moment. Here comes Nicholas Paul. They come down to the bell. The first battle between these two. And the world champion Levresen will lead into the back straight for the first time. Paul out on the outside, trying to come past, but he's hung up on the outside there. He's in the wind, flapping in the breeze is Harry Levresen. Comfortably gets the first win. Nicholas Paul will go back to the inside of the track, talk to his coach, try and come up with a tactic. What can he do to try and force a decider and win the next one? But for now, it's Harry Levresen that goes one up in the race for gold. One thing that we haven't pointed out, that I will now, look for the finish line. The finish line on this track is really early. So just past the finish line, depending on the angle, you can actually see where the line used to be. So there's a little lighter area about 5 meters past the line, which indicates where the actual finish line used to be. So it used to be much longer straight. So a bit more opportunity to come over the top. So it is a very short straight. So the women's endurance riders coming back onto the track. It's the elimination now for the women's omnium. And we look back into the scratch race. There was an issue with Elaine Seitz, so she was relegated for entering the sprinters lane. So the Swiss rider, unfortunately for her, with the relegation. So we can see her in second position. So they did determine that it was an unfortunate situation, dangerous move from Seitz. We didn't pick it up the first time around, so good for the crew to at least indicate that to us so we know. So Stenberg is leading the way. Kachihara from Japan, certainly a rider to watch. So this is earlier on. We're into the elimination now, which is the 3rd discipline within the 4 bunch races of the Omnium. We'll have the points race still to come. But Stenberg showing some real strength, the 33-year-old. The world champion, Lorena Vivas, in front of her. But she lost out in the tempo race, Lorena. Current world champion. It's only 2 years ago that she went to the World Championships for the first time.
I was there.
And won the scratch race. How's that?
Incredible to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I know her from the road so well, so we all know what power she has, so it's not really surprising that she comes to the track and really smashes it here as well. But yeah, it's amazing to see how she can also develop on the track. Put that power on the track bike.
Scary signs for any opponents going towards the Olympic Games and the Madison that will come up at the game. So Stenberg leads on 76. Comfortable margin back to the world champion Vivas. Acevedo from Mexico in 3rd place. So she's looking good, knowing that she is the world champion in the individual points race from last year. So she'll be good in the next race to come, but they have to get through this elimination first, as high as they possibly can. And we've seen it so often, Lynn, that riders that are right up there in contention in the Omnium, they come into the elimination, a little bit of a brain fade, make a mistake and get eliminated early, and really lose out on vital points.
Yeah, the elimination is such a hard discipline to get right, because as soon as you make one mistake, it can be all over. So it's really crucial to be focused always. And yeah, it's sometimes it's just super unlucky also. I mean, yesterday you could see on the Dorenbos, he was right up there leading the omnium, and then he went out of the elimination really early. Start now.
So the first neutral lap done. The last rider across the line every 2 laps will be eliminated right down to the final 2. So we're looking for the back wheel of the last rider. There are other ways to be eliminated as well. So if you go down to the light blue band at the bottom of the track to try and improve your position, as we saw Helena Hester's almost doing then, that will get you taken out as well. The other way is to push your way through to make a gap. So any sort of infringement like that of body language, you will also be taken out. All very tight across the line. So last rider across the line was Uzbekistan. So that's the first of our eliminations. Stenberg in second position up the front. Out of trouble for the overall leader.
Fidanza from the Italian team now deciding to go on the inside, but not really. Space might have just been enough.
Well, Fidanza dived down below, and she'll stay in, but she will not want to do that too many times. So Ukraine, Yashenko is the next to go. So Fidanza is still, she's moved up a little bit, and she'll want to make sure.
Get into the group a little bit, but
Ingram in trouble from the United States. Needs to be careful. She's moved up a little bit, so that's okay. Chile and Cuba. The next ones, Mejas, and it is Cuba.
Cuba, 303.
So Mejas, next one gone. And Conrad looking really uncomfortable at the back here.
She's really struggling from the beginning of the race already.
So head dropping.
Might not feeling really well. Just going on the inside, but I think it's not going to be enough.
Well, she almost stayed in there, but she does not look good. So Paulina Conrad, I think she'll be happy to go out now, because the body language was not comfortable at all. Well, your teammate there, Baltigan, a little bit of a headbutt almost at the back of the bunch.
She really has to put in a big effort now to be able to make it over the top. But bunch is going up a little bit.
So Baltigan,
and
she's the next one. Yep, next one gone, Germany. What's the correct pronunciation for her first name?
Mizan.
I thought so, I wasn't sure. So Germany out. Lara Gillespie on the front, she's the elimination world champion. So you expect a good ride from her here, but she has had 3 bunch races today already, so a little bit more fatigued. Li Ziwing from Hong Kong. The blue colours at the back.
Also at the bottom now, I think, for Chile.
Chile, 311.
So Chile, Cortez. Now what I have noticed in the elimination races here on this track, we mentioned how the finish line has actually been brought forward a little bit. So riders that are on the outside sprinting to get to the line, I felt have been caught out on this track more than they were in Hong Kong last week. Really short straights to get to the line there. Li Ziwing from Hong Kong, who was second last across the line, she was the silver medalist in Hong Kong in the elimination. So Fidanza should be okay. Ingram from the US.
345, USA.
So you can see Stenberg just above her now. Not unusual to see Stenberg hovering at the back in eliminations.
No, she's doing it really a lot, just kicking the riders out one by one, kind of. Because, yeah, in the end, you only have to overtake one. So but it really takes a big effort to do that, especially so early on in the race. Oh, it's getting a bit tight there.
Vankovic from Poland. And the crowd are not too happy because they can see Malaysia towards the back, but she's still in. Li Ziwing. It was Li Ziwing from Hong Kong. She'll be disappointed because, as I say, she was on the podium in Hong Kong on her home track in the elimination.
Really impressive ride there. She was super strong, so surprised to see her out so early.
Oh, the crowd are just full of anxiety now. Normad once again at the back, so they're cheering on, hoping that she can get herself around and stay in the race. There's going to be no room to move here. Oh, and she does stay in. Hester's.
Also surprising, multiple medals at the European Championships. So normally she's really good in the elimination race, but yeah, sometimes you're just stuck there at the bottom, nowhere to go, and it goes so quick then everybody's going over the top and you have nowhere to go.
Acevedo from Mexico. Once again, the crowd are going to be full of anxiety. Normad. Second last position for Malaysia. Lily Planter from Canada, though, is going to be the next one to go.
It's really great to see that the crowd is always cheering for their local riders and really feeling with them, almost.
Well, Saya Normad is just giving us all anxiety here.
Bit of a shoulder get together at the bottom of the bunch.
And once again, last position down the back straight. She has Olga Wankovic on the inside of her from Poland, unable to fight over the top, dives down for the different opportunity, but it's not going to happen.
Just nowhere to go now.
So the crowd will be able to bring their heart rates down now for the rest of this elimination with Malaysia out. Acevedo, the world points race champ from Mexico. In front of her, Stenberg. Fidanza once again diving down underneath. Can be a dangerous move.
Yeah, the bunch is really getting smaller now, so the smaller the bunch, the dangerous it gets at the bottom. Because everybody's...
Well, this could be a massive elimination if Yumi Kajihara is the next one out. Acevedo, regardless, both are very good. And it could be Fidanza. It was Fidanza right down the very bottom. She kept taking that inside run, and eventually it ran out. Two-time world champion, scratch race, and in the team pursuits, Martina Fidanza. So Acevedo once again, Lara Gillespie in the green colours of Ireland. So the two green skin suits at the back. Slipping through underneath, Dupin from France.
Gillespie coming over the top now.
Oh, I couldn't pick that one. Lithuania, Olivia Belashaita. Nicest colours of any of the national teams, that skin suits, but unfortunately not going to maximise the points that she gets here. So Melanie Dupin from France, Gillespie, Acevedo, Stenberg, Pankovic from Poland in the red and white, and Acevedo in a bit of trouble here. So I've been giving her the benefit of the doubt, talking about the longer these races go, the better she ends up being as the points race world champion, but that's not the case this time.
Attacked by the French rider. We see that more and more now in the elimination races, that riders attack kind of. You can't gain a lot in the elimination race, so you can only go ahead of the bunch to not having to do that on and on accelerations. So if you're more a rider that is able to push long, it maybe helps you, but out for the Swiss girl now, Alina Seitz. So maybe the French girl, she was also already on the limit and thought, okay, I can't do that one more sprint to the line, so I'm just doing a long effort. So she might pay for that now, just being on the inside and everybody passing her with high speed.
Well, you can see straight to the very back. Melanie Dupin, and I cannot imagine she's going to have the power in the legs to sprint back underneath Lara Gillespie here. So Dupin is the next one to go. So you're exactly right. Went off the front to guarantee she did at least one more elimination before she was gone. 7 riders remain. Lorena Wiebes, haven't spoken her name yet, so she's been riding in good position. Likewise, Samantha Donnelly, although Sam has been on the front for a lot of this, so pushing the wind. You're out of danger of being eliminated, but it costs a lot of energy when the race really comes down to it like this. So Vankovic from Poland underneath Kajihara. So Yumi should stay in, and it will be Poland gone this time.
Poland, 338, Poland.
So the Rainbow Bands in 4th position. Gillespie, the elimination world champion, cruises past her. Almost a touch of wheels at the back for Yumi Kajihara. And that puts Stenberg in a dangerous position. So Wiebes just happy to stay, and then Stenberg backs out just to make sure that she has some room to accelerate. And this could be really dangerous for Valgonen in the light blue colours.
Yeah, Kajihara, she's just closing that gap now for riders being able to go. Because sometimes you just have to overtake one and box them in kind of on the inside. And then you have no big effort to kick them out. So yeah, Kajihara, she just stayed on top of them to make sure they have no space to get out. But that might happen to her now. Now she went over the top there.
Gillespie. Now watch Lara. She'll get out of the saddle here and absolutely sprint because she backed out to give herself some room. Valgonen down the bottom in trouble.
Just going over the top.
339.
So we're down to 4. 40 points for the winner. 38 for second, 36 for third. Points have already been decided for all the riders that have already gone out. But Stenberg, the overall leader, is going to have a great result regardless of what happens from here on because she's already with a comfortable overall lead. And Kajihara, the former world champion, Tokyo Olympic Games omnium silver medalist, has the chance to come over the top of Gillespie here if she can accelerate down these short straights. It's not going to happen. So Kajihara is the next to go, down to 3.
327.
So a former medalist at the Worlds in Stenberg, the current elimination world champion in Gillespie, and the current omnium and scratch race world champion. 122 road race victories for Lorena Wiebes. And we're down to the final 3. Gillespie will lead. Wiebes, the world champ, looking at Stenberg. The acceleration comes out of the saddle. Such a good endurance athlete for a pure sprinter on the road. Shows great signs on the track, and it will be Stenberg. That's okay. She still gets 36 points for the overall classification. 33-year-old Anita Stenberg is gone for Norway. So we're down to the final 2. A 2-point advantage for whoever wins this one over the next. So it's the world elimination champion in 2nd position. First one to dive down to Lara Gillespie from Ireland. She wants to win here in the elimination. But the Omnium world champion, well, has something to say about that. So Lorena Wiebes down the back straight, look over the shoulder from Gillespie, and here she comes. Wiebes, 122 road race victories, but I don't know how many she's going to have on the track if she keeps doing this. So a win in the elimination as part of the Omnium for the world champion Lorena Wiebes. 40 points. Gillespie will get 38. So she fights her way back towards the top now, Wiebes, with just the points race to come. And the points that they've gained from each of these first 3 races, the scratch, tempo, and now the elimination, is what they will start the points race with. That final points race, as we go back through the last couple of eliminations, it was down to 4. Kajihara been riding well. Silver on her home track at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Looking to do something special in the final points race. You'll have to overcome this one though. Lorena Wiebes. So there's the confirmation as we saw them across the line. Wiebes, Gillespie, Stenberg, Kajihara, Valgonen, Donnelly, Vankovic, Dupin, Seitz and Acevedo. As we go further down, the riders that missed out on perhaps the big standout there is Helena Hesters, someone we thought might have gone a little bit better. throughout this one, and she'd be disappointed with that. And it's not about having sore legs, just boxed in with nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's the elimination race, so we can really make a big bump into the standings in the omnium if you mess it up there. And it's so cool because there's no second chance. If you mess it up once, then you're just out and have no chance.
So the overall standings, very handy lead for Anita Stenberg ahead of the world champion as they go into the final points race. Gillespie up into third place, continuing to improve as a track cyclist. The lady from Ireland back onto the track now with the pure sprinters. Nikita Kiritsev, top of the track, up against Azizul Hasni Awang from Malaysia. Good win in the first race in the competition for the bronze medal. Nikita needs to do some kind of special tactic here to try and get the win and force a deciding race. It's for the bronze medal this time. Gold medal last night in the keirin. But if Azizul Awang wins this, once again, the crowd will rip the roof off in their support of the mighty man from Malaysia. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't do a wheelie across the line. It's his signature move, just testing the strength of that front wheel every time he does it. National news all through the day. The win in the keirin last night. And it was in sensational fashion over Harry Levrason, or under, I should say, because he dove underneath in the final bend to get the win. Great tactical race, but had the speed and the power to go past the world champion. This time it's for the bronze medal in the sprint the next day. Big year still to come. Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, and the World Championships for Awang. A lot of discussion about whether he'll ride the Olympic Games in a couple of years. Putting some pressure on Kiritsev to try and go into the lead. Wasn't able to force that. So Kiritsev, top of the track, and now he pushes through. So I said he had to do something special. You know, he just went into first position. I thought he might have really gone on the hard attack then. So Awang, he was wanting to be in second position anyway. And he's glued to the back wheel, really trying to put some pressure on Nikita. And now Nikita starts putting the power down as they come to the bell. Awang 1 win away from the bronze medal here. And down the back straight, he's in the slipstream. Now out of the saddle. The mighty man from Malaysia puts the power down. He's up to the back wheel of Kiritsev. It's a short straight, but it's going to be long enough for Awang as he gets the bronze medal here in Malaysia. Backs up from the gold medal in the keirin last night.
Standing crowd everywhere.
Standing ovation once again, 2 nights in a row for Azizul Hasni Awang. He spent a lot of time after the keirin at the end of the night just going around, getting photographs, signing things for everyone. There was so much support for him last night. He is a man of the people here in Malaysia. He's only short in stature, but he's a scary man to race against.
For sure, yeah. They all know the power of him, and it's amazing to see that he can develop that here in front of the home crowd. And Malaysia is not really known for a cycling country, but it's great to see how they stand behind him and really cheer for him.
And it sometimes worries me when he punches his chest like that, because there is a massive scar right down the middle of his chest from open heart surgery back in 2022. I mentioned it before the keirin last night. So it was to correct a aorta problem that most likely would have given him cardiac arrest, apparently. And now on to the race for gold. Harry Levrason, the world champion, up against Nicholas Paul, men's sprint final. UCI Track World Cup, Nilai, Malaysia. Final round of the 3 World Cups for the season before these riders start focusing on the World Championships in Shanghai, China in October. A few other big competitions for them, as I mentioned, for Aweng, the Com Games. It'll be the same for Nicholas Paul as well, Trinidad and Tobago being a part of the Commonwealth. The Netherlands is not. So for Harry Levraisen, desperate to get the win here and then start building up towards the World Championships. He wants his 8th straight World Sprint Championship.
Yeah, they will go to Japan, I believe, for the keirin races. Joe Truman, Matty Richardson and Harry, they have been there for the keirin school alongside with the 3 of the girls, and they will spend the summer in Japan to really learn where the keirin comes from.
And building their bank accounts. A lot of money to be won in the
Probably
Japanese keirins.
also, yeah.
So Levraisen and Paul, the red colours of Nicholas Paul, Trinidad and Tobago. Netherlands, world champion. Harry Levraisen in 2nd position. Both out of the saddle, 2 laps to go, starting to build up a little bit of speed now. Levraisen trying to just force Nicholas Paul to waste energy and go early. Accelerates a little bit on the front just to drag Levraisen down the track a little bit. They'll come around to get the bell this time. Levraisen already 1 win. He's now 1 win away from the gold medal here in Malaysia. And Nicholas Paul goes into the first bend. In the slipstream though is the world champion. Levraisen comes up to the back wheel. Can he come around the outside? It's the shorter way on the inside for Paul. But look at Levraisen. Powers past to get another victory. The world sprint champion wins gold in the sprints in Malaysia. As easy as that for the great man. The greatest of all time in terms of men's track sprinting. And he continues to improve. Silver in the keirin on Saturday night and winning the sprint on Sunday to wrap up the World Cup for the sprinters. 1 more race still to come, and that's for the endurance athletes. We still have the women's keirin finals now coming up as well. So 2 more fantastic races to come here to finish off the Track World Cup. But Levraisen, you can see just gaining a little bit of extra height there coming into the final lap. So dive down into the first bends, into the draft, and comfortably up around the outside into the final bend. You do have to go a little bit earlier through that final bend because of the shortness of the straights here in Nilai. Last week in Hong Kong, the world champion, Harry Levraisen, was knocked out by Kei Ota from Japan in the quarter-finals. So it was a massive upset in Hong Kong. Good fight back by the world champ. Get himself back on the top step. From the male sprinters to the female, fastest female riders in the world. And this is the race for 7th to 12th place. Narelle Maud from Malaysia. Another rider in the black colours for the local crowd to cheer for. Anna Yobnikova from Czechia. And just beside there is Steffi van der Peet, 26-year-old. Gold medalist last year at the World Championships, but that was in the team sprint. Yobnikova from Czechia. Nikola Sibiak riding for Poland. One of the small stature riders within the sprint program. Former world champion, the 500-metre time trial, Belikova, has been a bronze medalist in the keirin at the World Championships. And the teenager coming up from the under-19 category, Zita Geysens from Belgium. She'll be the first rider behind the bike. So this is the race for 7th place, the best of the rest in the women's keirin. But the points gained are vital for qualifications at the World Championships in Shanghai in October. And in Shanghai is the start of the European points system. The Olympic Games point system. So this year's World Championships, very important in terms of quota positions for the Los Angeles Olympic Games. Even though it's 2 years away, this is the year that those points start to be accumulated. So Gaysens leads. Berlikova second. Sibiak from Poland third. And it's Jabornikova, Czechia. Van der Peet in the orange colours of Netherlands. And Maud, the 22-year-old. Competed at the Paris Olympic Games in both the sprint and the keirin. Finds herself in the small final here in Malaysia on her home track. One more lap for the bike to come off, slowly building them up to speed. Berlikova, the first to give a little bit of room to the rider in front. Look under the armpit there just to see who's behind. No one desperately coming from the back, so the bike will come off now. And it's Gaysens that leads. Berlikova out of the saddle. First little move coming from Van der Peet from the Netherlands. Berlikova sensing the danger. She goes to the front, but it's a long way to go. Oh, and a touch of handlebars there, and Gaysens almost goes down. That takes Maud at the back as well, so the little Malaysian desperately trying to get herself back into this race. Out in front, Berlikova. She'll come around to get the bell this time, but it's been a long time on the front. Sibiak in second position. Jabornikova in third. This is the race for 7th place. And the former world champion in the 500-metre time trial, trying to come around the final bend to finish 7th here in the women's keirin, and she will be able to hold on. Sibiak will finish in 8th. Van der Peet perhaps coming through next after that. Jabornikova was in 9th, Van der Peet in 6th, and Gaysens not happy with where she finished, but I can tell you she'll be happy to have stayed upright. That was close.
Yeah, that was really close, especially that speed. Touch of wheel, touch of handlebars is so dangerous and so hard to keep up. So, yeah, that was good for her to stay on the bike there.
Look at that.
And also not to taken out any other riders there.
Well, she was squeezed by Sibiak, but it wasn't her fault. The rider above Sibiak was pushing down, so there was nowhere to go. So the Polish rider exiting stage left and almost took Zita out of the race.
Yeah, I mean, we had that in the men's keirin last week in Hong Kong, where they crashed then with 5 out of 6 riders. So, yeah, it can be really dangerous at that speed. So good job there to keep it upright.
And that was in the early round, so I'll give you a recap on that, because it was a crash. It was the first 2 to qualify, I think, to go through the next round. 5 riders crashed out of the 6. 1 crossed the line on the bike, and then the second place getter was carrying his bike for half a lap, running across the line to get that qualification spot. On to the final now, the race for the medals, women's keirin, UCI Track World Cup in Malaysia. And what a lineup. Lurian Genet, Pan American champion, been on the podium at the Olympic Games in the keirin. You see to her left is Stephanie Cuadrado from Colombia. Mexico represented by Daniela Gaxiola. Top of the track, Hetty van der Waal. Multiple gold medals at the World Champs last year, but not in the keirin. Emma Finucane from Great Britain. 2-time world champion in the sprint. Let's see what she can do this time in this keirin. Silver medal at the World Championships last year for Finucane. Wang Lujon, China. There's Genet, French-Canadian from Montreal. French-speaking part of Canada. And Cuadrado, the Spanish-speaking part of Colombia, no doubt. But she's young, only 21, or 19, sorry, 19, teenager, youngest in this field. And a real sensation coming out of Colombia. She dominated the Under-19 World Championships. And this lady, she dominated the Elite Worlds last year in Santiago, but not in the keirin. Can she rectify that here in Nilai? Finucane, the fastest female sprinter in history. Cuadrado, the first to come to the bike. Then it's Genet, Wang, Gaxiola, Finucane, and van der Waal at the back in the orange colours. Distinct different style from Cuadrado on the front. When you see them all lined up together, look how much higher she is in the front. Straight arms, much, much higher. Everyone else really tucked down in that lower position. You can see it there, sort of stands out a little bit more. Quick glance from Finucane. The familiar orange colours of Hetty van der Waal right behind her wheel. Finucane won't want to stay in 5th spot for too long. One more lap until the bike comes off. Women's keirin final. Pan American champion in 2nd position, and it is van der Waal that moves first. Coming around, you cannot pass the bike before it leaves the track. It's now off. Van der Waal will come right to the very front. Wang is going to fight her, so it's 3 wide as they go down the back straight. Now they start to pick up the pace.
Really getting close there at the bottom.
Oh, and look at the riders desperately tucked in behind. So Cuadrado fights them all off. Oh, and a move up the track as Genet goes through. Van der Waal bumped up to the fence almost. Finucane a long way behind. They'll come around to get the bell, and it's Cuadrado, the teenager, that leads. Here comes Genet, the Pan American champion from Canada. Wang in 3rd place. Finucane is fighting to try and come past. Genet leads into the final bend. Wang's going to come over the top for China, perhaps. Gaziola trying to move through. Finucane won't get there because it's China that will win gold. Wang Liu Yuan will pick up the gold medal here. And in what was an absolute punch-on between these riders, bumping and bruising all the way around. Hetty van der Waal, she was lucky to stay inside the arena. She was pinged up the track so far. So
yeah, for sure the commentators will look into that to see what happened there, because I believe that Jeunesse, she just went in on the inside where there was already somebody in the sprinters corridor, so for sure they will look into it and see if that was all correct.
Looking forward to the replay here. So Lauriane Genet, Pan American champion. So here we go. Hetty goes to the front. Cuadrado down onto the blue, fights on to hold her position. And we've already seen the exit of Hetty by this point, fighting down the final straight. Cuadrado banging the handlebars in disgust behind, but it's Wang that gets there first. And you talk about the outright speed. I mentioned Finucane, fastest sprinter we've ever seen. But when it comes to a keirin, it's more than just pure speed, unable to get over the top.
Yeah, it's such a hard race for the sprinters to get right, because yeah, in the sprint it's 1 against 1, but here there's so many things that come into play. The number you start in, how the other riders go, and then yeah, with the almost crash there, she for sure also lost some speed. So really had to accelerate from the back there. That maybe cost her the final meters to win here.
Another gold medal for China. They've had an impressive couple of weeks. Team sprint for the women, team pursuit for the men, and the women's team pursuit on the podium as well. Kiwis getting themselves ready for the presentations, but it was Wang Luan that came away with the gold ahead of Daniela Gaziola and Lauriane Genet. They have given confirmation that she gets the men's. So that's how you do a change in a Madison. The European champions. Took a little while for the Germans to really take control, but once they did, it was a dominant performance. The Kiwis were great. New Zealand, strong ride by them. And there was a point there where I actually even said it. They looked as if they were the strongest on the track from Netherlands.
Yeah, but just missing out in the final bit there. Maybe also because they really spent a lot of energy taking those laps that they took, because they went by themselves. So really had to power a lot there. So yeah.
Yeah, solo lap is so much harder than when you are lucky enough to be combined with another country or two. So 91 points was the win for Germany. New Zealand, good ride in 2nd place. Netherlands, Italy faded at the end. They had a good result sort of mid-time through that race, and then almost got docked a lap at the very last part of it. So we can go down and hear from the European champions on the podium once again for Roger Kluge, 3 times a world champion, alongside Moritz Augenstein this time. Dominant ride in the men's Madison by Germany. Let's hear from them.
Kluge, Augenstein, congratulations on your big win. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that chaotic race that you guys just won it.
Yeah, it was indeed pretty chaotic from the beginning. always like a battle about position and the sprints, and then the USA opened up early the race with an early lap win. And from there, I was really like, chasing each other, look each other, especially to the Netherlands and New Zealand, probably the strongest ones. But it was a long fight through the whole race until we got the upper hand, and in the end, we could ride it home.
Maybe you can share about how you guys keep your consistency, especially New Zealand guys, Netherlands guys, coming, chasing right behind you.
Well, I think, we had also bad moments, or hard moments, let's say, when we really chased and the Dutch guys attacked before us. But when we could take over and put them behind us, then we just could find the rhythm, and I had then in the end the strongest legs to bring it home.
Last one, first time riding in Nilai. How does it feel?
For me, it's my first time here. The weather is quite hot here, but the air conditioning is also very good, so I enjoy it very much, and I hope I can come back in some years for more racing.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations again.
Well, it was a fascinating race, and I can say the air conditioning in all of Southeast Asia with the humidity is wonderful, it must be said. Now, we do have the men's Madison ceremony coming up, but I will say goodbye and thank you to you, Lynn Teutenberg. I know you have to have your bike packed by the end of the next race. Is that the command from the coach?
Yeah, exactly. Meizan, she was still using it to go to the toilet, as that one is quite far away, because her bike is on the roller, so she was using mine to get to the toilet. But yeah, now I'll need to pack it so we can all pack the bikes and the suitcases.
Well, I'm glad that if you weren't able to contribute because of your injuries and illness from last week, at least your bike could contribute to the team this week. So thanks again, Len, for having you on board, and looking forward to seeing you at whatever next race is coming up for you.
Yeah, thank you. I hope to be back here, but more I hope to be back racing. So yeah, see you.
Well, the men are getting themselves ready now for the presentations. An interesting interview there, Marit Algenstein, talking about air conditioning and humidity and heat. It certainly is hot, and I give you the tip, the very hot outside, but the track is slightly air conditioned, and normally they turn the air conditioning off for these championship events. Hot track is a fast track, but they thought it would be just too stifling inside, so they have kept it on. It's kept it a little bit more comfortable throughout, and it certainly hasn't cooled the track enough to cause any issues for the performances.
Ladies and gentlemen, in third place representing Netherlands.
So the men's Madison medal ceremony, Netherlands with the bronze medal. Yanni Doornbos and Vincent Hoppesack. They were the European champions last year. Doornbos third in the men's omnium last night. So another bronze medal for him. Solid ride from them. Expected a good performance. George Jackson and Thomas Sexton from New Zealand with the silver. And we did, these three teams, we did mention before the start actually as teams really to watch, and it just goes to show once again experience very important when it comes to Madison's. And no one has it anymore. No more experience from Roger Kluger. Moritz Augenstein, what a combination. Germany, the European champions. Kluger, a three-time world champion in this discipline, and now Madison champions in Nilai, Malaysia. Winners in Perth in the first round. And with 91 points, they didn't figure in the final sprint, the double-point sprint. They didn't need to. Already had 91 points. Sensational ride from them. It's interesting to hear from Roger. They had a couple of bad moments in that race, and not so much bad legs, but just caught out with all the attacks that were happening. So a bit of a scramble from the Germans to get themselves back into that dominant position towards the end.
Ladies and gentlemen, please one more time, your applause for our medalists from Netherlands, New Zealand, and Germany. Thank you, Mr. Fosing and Everyone for prize presentation. Thank you.
One more race to come tonight, the points race, the final discipline of the women's omnium. And this is how it was won. You see the strength, the speed off the changes. Two very big men in Augenstein and Kluger. So strong and long, giving that extra bit of leverage. Great technique, maximising every change they can. Has been a wonderful World Cup season, starting in Perth about 5 weeks ago now, and then last week to Hong Kong. It's good to get back to Perth. 1997 was the last time they had a major event. It was the World Championships on that track. So good to get the best in the world back onto the boards. The track itself in Perth has delivered so many sensational riders. Western Australians have been really dominating as road and track cyclists coming out of Australia. Alina Seitz getting herself ready for this final points race to come. She got a bronze medal last night for Switzerland in the women's Madison. Pretty hard for those of you that know Jan. He was doing a lot of efforts on the home trainer inside the velodrome over the last couple of days. They're putting in the hard yards himself to keep fit. He was integral in developing the British sprint program that became so strong with Jason Kenny and also Chris Hoy. And Germany were very happy to have him back into their program. We look back through the women's omnium. This was the previous event, the elimination. Kajihara finishing in 4th place, the former world champion and the current world champion over the top of Stenberg. So Anita Stenberg will lead into this points race. But Lara Gillespie picking up great points as well, finishing 2nd in the elimination. That's taken her right up there into 3rd overall coming into the points. Lorena Wiebes, the world champ, picks up the elimination race, moves herself up into 2nd place overall. So Stenberg, Wiebes, Gillespie. Then Falgonen on the same points as Lara, only 2 points back to Yumi Kajihara, the silver medalist from the Tokyo Olympic Games. And then a jump down to the points race world champ, Acevedo from Mexico. Donnelly been riding well for NZ, and Belosaita, previous top place finisher at the Worlds, in 8th ahead of Seitz and Helena Hesters. Fidanza for Italy in 11th place. So Lynn Teutenberg's teammate, Mizana Brautigam for Germany, a little bit further down as we go right down to the last few placings. The points race and the Madison seen as the most taxing events on the velodrome, and after all of these races, if we look at the back of Helena Hesters, the Omnium riders having qualifying heats this afternoon to get into the final, then the scratch race, tempo, elimination. Now they get to do what is known as the most difficult race of them all, right at the very end of what has been a tough day for the Omnium riders. Points race, as we see Li Wizi about to come up as well. Silver on her home boards in Hong Kong last week, but that was in the elimination. So the standalone elimination event, not the elimination within the Omnium itself. Valgonen showing good signs as well. See the ice vest, the orange ice vest in the background. Important for the riders to try and keep their core temperatures down. A lot of warming up, so a lot of getting the muscles, the leg muscles going, but they do try to keep their core temperatures down. A lot of slushies to try and cool them down as well. So ice vest off for Helena Hesters. The Norwegian star, 33-year-old Anita Stenberg. Bronze medalist of the World Championships in the Omnium in 2020. 4th at the Tokyo Olympic Games, just off the podium. Now 33. She won last week's elimination. Looking to finish off the World Cup series the best she can. She'll have to beat the Rainbow Bands, though. Lorena Vibas stalking. And there are so many points up for grabs now. The final points race, 80 laps of the track, sprint every 10, 5, 3, 2 and 1 as we saw in the men's Madison earlier tonight. Double points on the final sprint and 20 points once again to take a lap on the field. I do feel that a few of these riders are quite happy to take as long as they possibly can to get themselves up onto the track, try and get a little bit of extra recovery before this final points race.
Hello. VIP section. Yeah, stay away.
Irish staff up onto the fence, getting ready for Lara Gillespie to come up. You just see from New Zealand there, Donnelly getting herself into position. So Anita Stenberg will come up onto the fence as the overall leader as we come in. So the points that they've, the three previous races and the points gained, now all coming onto their overall tally, and that's what they will start this final points race with. So a handy lead for Anita Stenberg. Nice little advantage she has over Lorena Vibas. But with so many sprints and laps to be gained and the 20 points that can be done for doing so, it can completely be turned on its head. Anita has shown really good strength though. Just has to be able to finish this one off and tactically good enough to make sure that she covers any moves and doesn't waste too much energy. It's always the opportunity for riders down in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th position, the ones that won't be as marked as the top riders, to go on the attack and try and steal an extra couple of laps and really move themselves up the overall standings. So Stenberg, she's been there or thereabouts in this position before. She has the world champion to her left. Nick Stoppler, coach of the Netherlands, good endurance athlete himself, Madison specialist when he was racing. Acevedo, the world points race champion from Mexico. She looked a bit tired in the elimination, Yareli, but this is her thing. Gillespie looks strong. So first neutral lap. Plenty of tired legs in the peloton as we get the points race underway to finish off the women's Omnium. Gargorman and Kajahara immediately swing up. Acevedo from Mexico, the green colours, likewise Belosaita and Hesters. So no one really wanting to push the pace here. And that's what has to be done. Stenberg with 14 points lead over Lorena Vibas, the world champ. Gillespie 8 points further back. So some big gaps that have happened throughout these first 3 races. Hester's the first one to go. Down in 10th place on 64 points. Drags Fidanza with her. Belosaita and Donnelly from New Zealand at the back of that group of 4. Sights. Infringement in the scratch race. She won't be happy about that. Now she's trying to keep herself in the mix, and she's in 9th place overall, Sights from Switzerland. She was the one that stopped that group of 4 from drifting off the front. Dupin from France. So 76 to go. Gillespie showing good signs early on. Has the strength in the legs. She wants a hard race, wants to make it aggressive. Acevedo's behind her. And she has just swung up, so a gap has opened up here for Lara Gillespie from Ireland. It'll be the world champion that'll have to chase her down. So peloton strung right out. Gillespie looking good. Gap's not opening up now, no. Lorena just doing enough to keep the tempo in the peloton high. Fidanza from Italy. She's the first one to catch Gillespie. So Lara, first attack neutralised. But good signs of what might come. Melanie Dupin with Yumi Kachihara. This could be dangerous. Kachihara in 5th place. Former world champion, Olympic silver medalist. She's on 88 points. And the gap creates a hesitation. Hesters, the 21-year-old from Belgium, she's come to the front of the peloton. Palisades are behind her. So a good combination. 2 riders working together well. First sprint coming up. 71 laps to go. Dupin, Kachihara. Brautigan and Wiebes are the next to come through. Stenberg follows Wiebes as she goes over the top of the German Brautigan. So 5 points will go to Yumi Kachihara. She got up to 93, and that'll put her into the bronze medal position. 1 point for the overall leader in Anita Stenberg. The world champ picks up 2, so it's only 1 point that comes back between Wiebes and Stenberg. Gillespie is in that chase group of 3 as well. Well, the peloton has split up really quickly here. 2, 3, then 3, then 1, and then the main group. So it just goes to show so many tired legs. Donnelly moves across now as well. So Dupin and Kachihara. Donnelly swings up high, coming together. It's Gillespie that wants to keep going. Not too many riders back in that main field that would have the legs to do anything about this. So the 2 leaders come back in. They'll come around to get 66 laps to go. First sprint is done. Kachihara picked up the 5 points and put herself back up into a podium position. Sam Donnelly from New Zealand. Go. Just stretching the legs a little bit. Valerie Valkonen looking strong. In 5th place on 90. 2 riders tied on 90 points. Lara Gillespie and Valerie Valkonen. Little test there from Acevedo. And Brautigan with a real acceleration from Germany. So she's down in 13th on 46 points, so no danger to the overall standings. She might be allowed to get a bit of a gap here, but it's not the favourites that are going to chase her down. Cortez it is. Mejas from Cuba. Now they swing up the track, and Messinet might have a chance here, but Brautigan, if she can keep some tempo, she'll get the 5 points, that's for sure. But can she continue around the track and gain a lap? There'll be an acceleration now as they chase the smaller points up for grabs. It'll be Lorena Wiebes, the world champion, that leads the peloton. Brautigan will hold on for sure. She'll get the 5. And Kajahara goes over the top of Vibas. So Brailta can get the 5 points. Kajahara, then Gillespie, then Lorena Vibas. So you don't often see Lorena Vibas get beaten in the sprint. Yep, that was for 2nd place. But it just showed that Kajahara is showing some really good signs early on in this women's points race, the final discipline in the omnium. So that moves her into 96 points in 3rd place still. But Yumi Kajahara now only 5 points behind the world champion Vibas, who sits in the silver medal spot. So a real test now for the world champ. Not only thinking about trying to catch Stenberg, she has to think about who's coming from behind. Yumi Kajahara, the former world champion, chasing the current world champion. Stenberg might be able to capitalise on that battle. Still has a nice comfortable 12-point margin over Lorena in 2nd place.
Norway dengan jumlah mata 101, Netherlands jumlah mata 96, Japan.
Lizzie Wing. Hong Kong. Seitz has been aggressive these last couple of days. So the rider from Switzerland once again attacking. Bronze in the Madison last night. Cortez from Chile. Gillespie, the only one of the top contenders that's found herself out in this lead group. Kajahara's not too far behind. So Yumi closes that one down. Closing the gap, costing a little bit of energy there for Kajahara. Vibas and Stenberg just following the wheels, saving energy. Nafisat Kosieva, Uzbekistan. And another sprint's coming up, so they'll get 51 laps to go as they come around. Gillespie on the front. Kajahara will now be robbed with 250 metres go for the next lot of points. Stenberg, Vibas, Ingram from the United States in 4th place, but now comes the world champion. So Kajahara got the sprint over the top of Vibas last time, and she will not do it this time because Vibas just gets past Yumi. So fascinating battle now becoming between those two. Yumi and Lorena really duking it out between these sprints. So the points given to Lorena. She goes to 106. 9 points the difference now between Stenberg and Vibas. Little buffer for Lorena over Yumi in 3rd place. She's now 7 points back. Sam Donnelly. .47 to go. Donnelly goes off the front. Scarlett Cortez, the rider from Chile with her. World champ, sits in 2nd place overall. Closing the margin between her and Stenberg. Short-lived attack off the front. Cortez happy to follow, but perhaps unable to really contribute. So Donnelly goes back to the lead. Cortez comes through this time. Peloton has swung high, so there's an opportunity now. And as I say that, there's an attack underneath, and that'll keep the tempo back in the main field up high to make it really difficult to try and take a lap here. Donnelly sits in 7th place, down on 76 points. Won't take too many, though, to move right up. And they'll be hoping to hang out there for at least the next sprint. 43 to go this time. So Donnelly, Cortez. Gillespie now on the move. She'll come through the bottom of the screen. There she is, Lara Gillespie. So Kajahara moved over the top of Gillespie. Lara did start the points race in 3rd. Now she's in 4th. Desperately trying to come across. The gap is going to be shut down really quickly here. Paulina Conrad is coming up to Gillespie as they come around to the next sprint, and she will continue on with it. So Donnelly gets to the bell first, but Conrad has gone straight over the top. She's out of it in terms of overall positions, Conrad, but she'll pick up the 5 points here. So easy 5 points for her. Seitz, then Gillespie. So 2 points for Lara Gillespie from Ireland. That'll keep her in the hunt for a podium position. No points for Kajahara that time. Conrad has decided 1 sprint is enough. Picks up the 5 points, then goes back into the field. And here she is, the points race world champ. Pan American Omnium champion for the last 2 years, Yerelia Acevedo. Anita Stenberg desperately chasing the rider from Mexico. Acevedo sits in 6th place. She's on 80 points. Swings up as Stenberg gets there. Vibus was quick to follow. So the top 2 absolutely marking each other. Valkonen. Stenberg drops down to get onto the wheel, and they swing back up high on the track. So does anyone else now have the strength to go on the attack? Still a long way to get to the next sprint. Just as they were about to take a breath, it's Acevedo that goes on the attack again. It was a sensational victory last year in Santiago, Chile. Any of the Latin Americans that were riding well were getting so much support by the crowd in Santiago. And the points race was sensational. It really was a great ride from her, gutsy effort, and once again showing the type of fighting spirit that she has. So Hestes has gone off the front with her. Balasaita as well. Kotsieva from Uzbekistan. So 4 riders. Dupin from France, deciding that she's going to be the one to close this gap down. Short turn from her, swings up. Gillespie once again riding in good position, but also costing a little bit of energy. So she goes off the front of the chase group, does not worry too much about the riders in front, does not want to spend the energy in chasing them back either. Fidanza will do that this time. So Martina Fidanza, former scratch race and team pursuit world champion, as they come to the next sprint, and it's Acevedo, Balasaita, Fidanza. Ingram from the United States in 4th position. So Fidanza it is, coming from 3rd, trying to come up over the top, but Acevedo should hold on from there. So she'll get the 5. Won't change her overall standings, but it'll get a little bit closer towards the podium. She remains in 6th place. Balasaita in 8th. Another 3 points and she'll go over the top of Sam Donnelly from New Zealand, who's in 7th place, but no change at the top. Stenberg, Bibas, Kachihara and Gillespie. Still plenty of points on offer. 3 more sprints to come. Final sprint with double points. And possibility of a lap to be taken, but further we go in, of course, the more unlikely it becomes. Mejias from Cuba with the move, but Stenberg looking comfortable. Hasn't had to pick up too many points in this race just yet. Still has a 9-point margin. 20 points still on offer with these next couple of sprints. 3 more sprints to come, 2 5-pointers and then a 10. So it can all change. Helena Hester's now on the move, the 21-year-old Belgian. She has Olivia Belasaita with her. Donnelly trying to come across as well. So Hester's down on 64 points in 10th place. Belasaita 2 places above her. So they'll be willing to work well together. Kachihara is the one that's driving the peloton. Donnelly struggling to get across to the 2 leaders. Just about to get there now. Into the draft as Hesters goes through. Belasaita. Li Ziwing from Hong Kong stuck in between. But what it does mean is the points will be all taken up. They get 22 laps to go. The gap is really starting to open up. And the next sprint, all the points will be gobbled up from these 4 riders, so the overall standings won't change between the top 3. There is still time to take a lap as we go into 21 laps to go and another sprint. Samantha Donnelly will lead. Helena Hesters, Olivia Belasaita, and Li Weizi is almost about to get there. Li Ziwing. So the rider from Hong Kong will come through and get 4th place, but Donnelly will pick up the 5. That'll take her up into the 80s, but she will remain in 7th overall. So just under half a lap to the back of the main bunch for these 4 riders in front. Hesters following the New Zealander Donnelly. So it looks as if those 4 willing to really work well together. It's going to take a big effort from the peloton to bring them back. Still time to take a lap here. 20 points on offer for the riders that can do so. Donnelly, Hesters, Belasaita and Li Ziwing. Oh, and Belasaita showing some signs of fatigue there as she just drops off the back a little bit. She's not contributing, letting riders in, so she's starting to struggle. Olivia. 8th in the Omnium at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Has been 5th of the World Championships as well. Well, these 4 riders getting closer to the back of the field. And what does it mean if they can get a lap? 20 points. And Donnelly, Belasaita. Donnelly's the highest placed of them on 81. So she'll go up into 3rd if she can gain a lap here. She'll go up to 101 points, 2 points ahead of Yumi Kachihara, but they do have another sprint not too far away. So it could be a 25-point boost for Sam Donnelly, providing she wins this next sprint, of course. The bunches back things off a little bit. 13 laps to go for the 4 leaders. Not too far from getting a lap gained. Belasaita starting to look a little bit better as well. So Lee from Hong Kong. They'll come round for 12 to go. Peloton high on the track. That's the sign you want if you're trying to gain a lap here. So 12 laps to go. Sprint next time around. Donnelly swings up. I think she feels she wants the 5 points, but there's been a big attack off the front of the field. So acceleration on the front of the peloton. Gillespie it is. Stenberg and Vibus looking after each other out in front. But Hesters will get the bell for the penultimate sprint. This is the last 5-point sprint on offer. and Hesters accelerates into the back of the field. So she'll pick up the 20 points as well. Donnelly moving over the top. Got to get to the line, though. So it's Hesters that gets the 5. Donnelly with 3. And all 4 of those riders, Belasaita and Lee, will get 20 points. So for Donnelly, she's up into the bronze medal spot now with only 10 laps to go. Huge moment for her. Stenberg, Vibus, then Donnelly now over the top of Gillespie. Gillespie and Kajahara locked on the same points. There's confirmation, 20 points for gaining a lap for Hesters, Belasaita, Donnelly and Lee. So Stenberg, the clear leader. Then the world champ Vibus. Donnelly moves up into the bronze medal spot, just ahead of Kajahara. Belasaita a couple of points behind her. Gillespie drops down to 6th place. With Donnelly and Kajahara moving up, it was to the expense of Lara Gillespie. 6 laps to go. Dupin from France. Fidanza, Kajahara, Vibus, Gillespie. So Stenberg in the box seat here. Acevedo is not over with this points race yet. 5 to go for the Mexican. She's down in 9th place now with the lap gain. Riders that have come up above her. Hesters is one of them, moved ahead of her. So 10 points on offer here for Yareli Acevedo if she can hang on for the next 4 laps into the final kilometre. The last kilometre of the UCI Track World Cup in Nilai, Malaysia. Helena Hesters driving the peloton. A 10-point win for Acevedo will move her to 95. It won't be enough to get herself up into the medals, but taking those 10 points away might cause an upset further up. Opportunity may be lost for someone that might have won those 10 points and moved themselves into the medals. That's the nature of the game, and Acevedo is not going to let anyone else have it. Flying off the front here. So 2 laps to go. And Yareli Acevedo still trying to hold on, but there's going to be a big move coming though, because Lorena Vibus has gone really early coming into the final lap, and Acevedo trying to hold on for the final 10 points. But have a look at the world champion. Lorena Vibus is absolutely flying out of the saddle once again for Acevedo, trying to hang on. The gap is coming down so fast. Here she comes, the world champ. She's going to not get there though. Acevedo gets the 10. 6 points will go to Lorena Vibus, the world champ. Gillespie, Stenberg, as they come across the line. So 6 points going to Lorena Vibus. It's not going to be enough to win the gold medal because Anita Stenberg will hold on to claim gold in the women's omnium. Wonderful final sprint once again from Lorena Vibus. But Anita Stenberg, the most consistent of all, finally now realising that the job has been done. 117 points, 5 points ahead of Lorena Vibus. So the world champ, second this time. And a wonderful ride there from Samantha Donnelly to move herself up onto the podium at the highest level. Bronze medal for the Kiwi. The former world champ, Kajahara, will finish 4th ahead of Lara Gillespie. And then Olivia Belasaita in 6th. Acevedo's performance in the final sprint, guaranteed 7th overall. Well done, Sam. Good lap gain, getting herself up onto the podium. But the final gold medal will be going to Anita Stenberg from Norway, the 33-year-old. She won the elimination last week in Hong Kong, wins the omnium here in Malaysia, the final round of the UCI Track World Cup. So these three eventually got themselves around. Lee from Hong Kong jumped across to them, and the 4 went on to gain the lap, get the 20 points on offer. So Stenberg went from down about 7th place, 8th place up into 3rd. So that was a great move. Approaching the final sprint, Acevedo Great acceleration from the world champion, but just a little bit short. 6 points across the line. Even if Lorena did pick up that last sprint, she would have still finished in second place, but only by 1 point. So that's how tight it was at the end. Stenberg doing more than enough to guarantee the gold. It was all wrapped up before that final sprint. Canadian coming off the track. I can say that there has been a relegation from, speaking of Canada, in the women's keirin final. And we'll just get to that in a moment as we see the final standings with Stenberg ahead of Ibis. Donnelly from New Zealand snatching the bronze medal away from Yumi Kajihara. Lara Gillespie with a solid ride for Ireland in 5th. Palisaita, Acevedo, Helena Hesters, the 21-year-old from Belgium, getting herself up into 8th place overall. Li Ziwing, she moved up the standing as well to finish in 11th for Hong Kong, just ahead of Martina Fidanza, two-time world champion. As we go further down, so Lily Planty from Canada finishing 21st, and Mejas from Cuba rounding out the women's omnium here in Nilai, Malaysia. So there has been a relegation in the women's keirin, and it was the Canadian that unfortunately we saw diving underneath, Lauriane Genet, the Pan American champion. As we see Sam Donnelly, all smiles for a bronze medal. But the word coming through is that Genet has been relegated for that dangerous manoeuvre. So she'll certainly be disappointed with the outcome of that. What it means is Emma Finucane will be up into 3rd place, with Genet being relegated to 6th. Doesn't change the winner though, because Wang from China still came across with golds. Fantastic. Stylish move to get the win, and stylish off the bike as well. So Genet, Pan American champion. So as we come down to the finish line, just chopping Cuadrado, the front wheel. And I thought it might have been for what had happened before that. But saying they just chopped the wheel. There you go. Entering the sprinter's lane when the opponent was already there. So technically correct, but a tough call, because Cuadrado was out of the race. So that's the confirmation with Genet down into 6th place, but you can just go through that again if you'd like. So Wang still takes the win ahead of Gassiola and Finucane. But they're technically what they're saying is when Lauriane Genet came past Stephanie Cuadrado, she just moved down too soon and almost chopped the wheel. So that is a relegation. She'll be a little bit disappointed because she felt like she was probably clear and out of the way. But unfortunately, that's the case. Time to pack up for all the riders and the staff. Mad scramble at the end of all of these Track World Cups. Final warm down, so important as well before they get on the long haul flights to go back to their home nations around the world. Lara Gillespie heading back to Europe. Some road racing still to come for her. Solid ride, didn't get a medal, but she'll be happy with just how solid she was throughout that Omnium. Just caught a glimpse of Azazul Awang just down in the interview area, being in high demand once again. The bronze medal in the men's sprint after winning the keirin last night. 38 years of age, just extraordinary that he continues to be so good at the top level, Azazul. It'll continue to give him hope. question keeps coming up about the Olympic Games. He'll be 40 if he does continue, and every time he's asked that question, he said you have to ask his wife. She's the one that's in control of how much longer his career is going to be. 4 kids as well. And I think we can hear from the winner of the women's keirin now. So Wang Liwan, fantastic ride from her, 23 years of old and winning the keirin this time. So a controversial finish for some riders, but not for Wang. She was so strong out in front, winning the women's keirin.
一场意义非凡的胜利和就是世界顶尖的运动员同场竞技，这一场比赛你可以帮我们复盘一下吗
？For the beginning, I just have a goal. I really want to win. I really want to be my best. So I on the race, I just follow my feeling all the time and not really rush. And also the Vanderbilt is really strong girl. I just want to let her go with me. Maybe I can control a little bit. But that's keirin. You don't know anything can happen, you know. So I'm feeling so good, so exciting, can win this medal for me. Yeah.
Everyone expect Emma or Van der Waal to win this, but you, after cross the finish line, what you thinking in your head?
Actually, that's really important for me, but actually, I just cannot. That's so unbelievable for me, you know. But I just feel like dream, so amazing feeling that.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Well, big future. She's only 23, so still plenty more to come. And there has been some big changes in the coaching staff in China. They've got the World Championships in Shanghai later this year. We've seen some great improvement in their endurance program. The female sprinters have always been strong coming out of China, but the endurance program not so. That's changed. They won the team pursuit in the men. They were on the podium in the women this time here in Malaysia, so they're making some real improvements right across the board, and no doubt we will see that continue when we do get to the World Champs. We have the Asian Games coming up a couple of weeks before the World Champs in China. That's in October, and the Asian Games in September, and that's such a big focus for the Asian countries. So another opportunity for the Chinese riders to show just how good they are.
Ladies and gentlemen,
now 2 years ahead of the Olympic Games. We'll see what happens when it comes to the endurance events for the Chinese. That's where they have made the most gains in the last 8 months or so. Victory ceremony now for the women in the keirin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the medal will be presented by Miss Nilai.
So the winner of the sprint yesterday and the 2-time former world sprint champion, Olympic Games gold medalist in the team sprint from Paris, riding for Great Britain. She comes from Wales, and it's Emma Finucane with a bronze medal here in Malaysia. 23-year-old world record holder over 200 metres. Just shows the level of competition in women's sprinting, that the fastest female on the planet is in 3rd place. Silver going to Mexico, Daniela Gaxiola. It's a great result for Daniela. And China on the top step of the podium. The 23-year-old Wang Liwan. No issue for her in terms of the relegation in the final. She was in clear space, powering through to get the victory. Best result in recent time, the World Championships back in 2024. She finished in 8th place. So to win the World Cup here in Malaysia, great result for Wang. Gaxiola was the oldest in the field at 33, continues to impress. Wang Gasiola, Finucane. China, Mexico, Great Britain. Women's keirin finalists.
Thank you, Ms. Vivian. And I will hand it over for prize presentation. Thank you.
Finucane with the earliest of the next goals. Commonwealth Games for her at the end of July. And look a little bit further back here as we come into the final bend. Genet on the inside, the Pan American champion, trying to hold on as she came across the line. I think she was fourth across the line anyway, so regardless of the relegation, didn't change the outcome of the top three. But Wang, the most powerful, the fastest, got the timing just right to get to the line first. And Benoit Vertu, national coach of the Chinese national team. He'd been with the Chinese team for a number of years before going over to Japan and really building a wonderful program in Japan before coming back to China at the end of last year. The man behind him is Boris Clark with the bleach blonde hair. He's running the endurance program. So Boris, the Kiwi, doing a great job. And the bleached hair is the result of a bet he had with the team pursuit team for doing so well at the Asian Championships. Let's go back into the centre though and hear from Anita Stenberg, who won the Omnium.
Harry, congratulations on the win. Maybe this is a redemption about the lose yesterday.
Yeah, after yesterday, I really wanted to win something here. And team sprint already felt good. Yesterday I almost had it. Wang just came under me. And today I could finally take the win. I felt strong all day, already in the morning with the 200 meter. And I was happy I could finish it off.
People outside say like it's very easy for you today. How about you can sum up about that?
It was not easy. It was a long day and it was my third day here in the arena. But I think Nicholas Paul and Azilis Wang at the third ride in the semi-final gave me a little bit more rest. So I think I had a bit more rest for the final, but still, Nicholas Paul was strong in the final.
Maybe, what do you feel after getting this gold medal at last in Nilai?
Yeah, we're really happy to finish this off. Last week in Hong Kong, I couldn't win the sprint, so really happy with this victory.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I can back announce that that was Harry Levrayson after throwing to Anita Stenberg. Certainly doesn't look like Anita at all, but Harry Levrayson, the world champ, winning the sprint here. Second in the keirin last night. Humble champion, the greatest of all time. 20 times a world champion on the track in the sprint disciplines. 5 Olympic Games gold medals. Now Nicholas Paul, silver for him, for Trinidad and Tobago. Another rider that continues to shine. So the next presentation not too far away as the man in demand, Azizul Awang, finally makes his way across. Harry and Nicholas were ready to go. Everybody wants to catch up and interview Azizul though. He gets the bronze medal this time after that wonderful keirin victory last night.
UCI Track World Cup in Nilai, Malaysia.
So the medal ceremony now for the men's sprint.
Ladies and gentlemen, the medal will be presented by Babagia Dato Amardin Singh, Vice President of UCI. Ladies and gentlemen, in third place, representing Malaysia.
So bronze medal for Malaysia this time after the gold medal last night for Azizul Awang.
In second place, presenting Trinidad and Tobago.
So Nicholas Paul in the semi-final defeated Azizul to put himself into the race for gold and silver. Wasn't able to get over the top of the world champ, though. So silver medal for Nicholas Paul for Trinidad and Tobago. 9.1 was the old world record that he set in Bolivia back in 2019. And the world champ, once again on the top step, Harry Livrason from the Netherlands. Knocked out in the quarterfinals a week ago in Hong Kong. That was a huge upset. Rectified that 1 week later. As we've seen so many times over the last decade, the Netherlands on top. Harry Livrason, the dominant force in world sprinting. Every year he has to reinforce his trophy cabinet. 20 gold medals from the World Championships, those 5 Olympic Games gold medals. Only a couple of minor medals from the highest level because he has been so dominant. And we saw it last night with Azazul being held up. This time, the great man Harry Livrason. And I wish I'd looked at my messages earlier on, but just to recap on the men's Madison, because look at the sprint here with Harry. Really powerful over the top of Nicholas Paul. And not to be negative at all towards Nicholas, but it was pretty comfortable from Harry. It just looked pretty straightforward. We know it's not, of course, but so look at that, special cameraman getting things ready with the Awang family. So great opportunity with Harry Livrason and the kids. But we can go down now, this time, to Anita Stenberg, the winner of the women's Omnium. What a great ride that was for the Norwegian.
Congratulations on another goal for you. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that hectic race. You have an accident. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it was very hectical today. In the scratch, I almost crashed. In the tempo, I had a puncture, and I thought I would crash when I had the puncture as well. The elimination, it's like always very hectic and difficult, and I had a really good fight with Lara and Lorena. Yeah? And to be honest, in the point race, I didn't have much control. I just raced, and I hoped it would be enough.
Maybe you can tell us, how does it feel after your name announced as the winner for that category?
Oh, I was so happy. Like, I have been fighting so hard today, and to be honest, like, Vibes, she is a superstar. Like, I really look up to her, and to be able to beat her today, for me, it's a really big victory and a big step toward where I want to be.
Okay. Congratulations again. Thank you.
She's 33, but she continues to improve. We go on to the victory ceremony for the women's Omnium. Yeah, so just to recap, just an update that came through. I think it's significant to mention now. In the men's Madison, I got a message from Lindsay, family member perhaps, of Oscar Nelson Julien, talking about how things were going for the French riders. And it was only discovered 2 days ago that in Hong Kong last week, he did have a crash, but he broke 2 ribs. So he had the sudden disappearance in the Hong Kong Omnium and a total Madison fail here in, or really tough Madison, I should say, here in Nilai. So Oscar Nelson Julien racing with 2 broken ribs from last week. So well done to Oscar for at least getting back on the track and having a real crack at it. So the final presentation here in Malaysia to finish off the UCI Track World Cup. 3 rounds after starting in Perth. And then moving on to Hong Kong last week. About a 1-month gap in between Perth and Hong Kong. And then running 7 days between Hong Kong and here. Now they get to rest up a little bit and start to focus. So Samantha Donnelly from New Zealand. Bronze medal for New Zealand. Great ride from her. The world champion from last year, silver medal here in Malaysia. Fantastic final sprint in that points race, but it was too little too late. It was such a difficult race, but Lorena Wiebes coming directly off the road, riding the classics, and then back onto the track. It's a tough ask, but that's how good she is. Anita Stenberg, full of respect though for the world champion. This time she gets to stand on the top step above her. So the Norwegian, she's been a medalist at the World Championships in the Omnium. She was 3rd back in 2020, 4th at the Olympic Games in Tokyo in the Omnium, and now gold medalist here in the final race of the UCI Track World Cup. Great outcome for Anita. She does continue to improve. Now that she's in her 30s, she may have been thinking about maybe the best was behind her, but that's not the case. She continues to get better. So a wonderful way to finish off. Still spending plenty of time with the local fans, Harry Levace. And we saw this after the Keirin last night, where everybody wanted a piece of Azizul Awang, but the respect from the spectators towards riders such as Harry is great to see. Well, they have really enjoyed some wonderful racing, haven't they, over the last 3 days? It was the same in Hong Kong last week. But after those 3 days here, we see the People's Republic of China on top. The only country to get 3 gold medals, 6 total with the 2 silvers and a bronze. So that's been a fantastic 3 days, just ahead of the Netherlands and Norway. New Zealand, Italy, Great Britain, Malaysia, Germany down there as well. So then you go down into the silver medal. So Mexico just missing out this time with getting a gold, but 2 silvers, that's pretty good. So they'll be happy with that. Switzerland, that 1 medal in the women's Madison, getting themselves onto the medal table. So showing good signs of what's to come. And what is to come for this man? Will he continue? All the fans here in Malaysia certainly hope so. He'll be 40 by the time the next Olympic Games come around. Commonwealth Games still to come for him. Asian Games, World Championships, still a big year. In terms of the overall standings in the World Cup over the 3 rounds, this lady has also done extremely well in that regard. Good to see the partners in the background. Good to see Tissot on the board as well. That does wrap things up for the third and final round of the UCI Track World Cup from Nilai, Malaysia. Perth, Hong Kong, and now in Nilai. It has been a wonderful 3 rounds. We look forward to what's to come, especially the World Championships in Shanghai coming up in October. We'll see Harry Levason there, Lorena Vabis, she'll be there as well. The stars have shone here in Malaysia, and we cannot wait to see what they can produce over the coming months. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to seeing you next time.